Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the midweek show, live from the Runway Visitor Park. We have just missed the A380 by a couple of minutes. It arrived just as we were finishing our setting up. But a very warm welcome to you guys as well. We got the Singapore lining up to depart on the south side, and back by popular demand, we have Debbie Riley back with us as well for about an hour today, you said?
Yeah,
about an hour. And we're going to be talking about all the work that's taking place in front of us, what that means for the airport, why it's being done, and what it's going to improve as well. So we'll get this Singapore out, and we'll have a look around and see what's going on. But plenty of work taking place today in front of us here at the RVP. And the Singapore A350 out to Singapore is lining up ready to go. And of course we've got Brownie up on the roof as well, just getting things set up. Luckily it has just stopped raining as well.
Yeah, we thought it was going to be a wet one today, and it is wet on the airfield.
Again?
Yes.
I shouldn't hold your breath, Andy. I think it could certainly start raining again very soon.
Listen, Debbie, less of that.
It is so wet in the park at the moment. I have never seen it this bad. You just literally have to wait to get to the
it's really bad,
the commentary
isn't it?
box. It's ridiculous.
I asked myself why I didn't put wellies on today when I was halfway here. I just got little Skechers shoes on.
Well, that was silly.
So yeah, even getting out of the car was a bit of a swim.
Well, we're just organising events for the summer, and I just hope it dries up, because the first one we've got is May the 5th.
Right.
And we've got a load of blue lights coming in, so old fire engines, police cars, etc., and they'd be parking on the grass, and well, we couldn't park them on the grass now because it would just wreck it.
Quite a good few weeks of dry weather, aren't we, to dry it all up.
Yeah.
But it has just been unprecedented, hasn't it? But get this Singapore out. There you go. That aircraft starting a 6,800 mile flight out to Singapore. As it rotates off 23 left. Dual runway operations in effect today, and that's because of the work that's taking place in front of us here at the RVP. Obviously, usually by this time I think we're just switching over to single runway ops, but yeah, it's cool to see some dual runway action as well. And what we are thinking, guys, for next week's show, we may move Matcam to Southside to bring you guys some awesome departures. So get a yay or nay in the chat if you want to see a bit of Southside action mixed into the show. It does mean that we won't see the apron on Sunday, but I think while we got dual runway ops in force like we have at the minute, it might just make things a little bit more exciting. And Patrick, thank you very much for the brand new first class membership. Welcome in, hope you're doing well. And the Pushback crew returning for 1 month of Airliners Live membership, saying morning all, love the 350. And I saw Sam at Barton yesterday. It was very busy, saying Pushback crew.
Very busy at
Barton was busy yesterday.
Yeah, what was going on then?
I was going to say it wasn't.
If it's not wet here, I don't know what their little runways look like. I mean,
yeah, I think that's one thing they're looking at the minute quite a lot is improving the drainage and stuff on the runways there, because this year there's just been such a washout, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I've not spoke to them directly about it, but I do wonder just how much it's affected them this year with
I've heard they're doing all right though. It's not like they're struggling, right? I think they're doing okay. You know,
yeah.
A lot of the helis and things helping out too, heliport and all that as well. And when it is a nice day, it does get so busy over there.
Yeah, I guess it's just this year is not the year to learn to fly.
Imagine.
We need a seaplane, I think the rate we're going.
Yeah, we will, won't we? Malky, thanks for gifting a membership, mate, kicking off the show.
Well, of course, Barton was the original Manchester airport.
It was, yeah.
And the reason that it was moved to here was because the ground was so bad, as you say, the drainage. And it was KLM that wanted to start their service, first commercial service. So.
Yeah. And they're still with us.
And they are, indeed.
Yeah, it's really cool to see. But for those of you who missed, it was a few weeks ago now we first had Debbie on. And we kind of spoke about Debbie's jobs and history in aviation and stuff like that. But you gave me a ring and just said, "Oh, if you want me to talk about a bit what's going on here," because this was kind of like your bread and butter, wasn't it, when you were working at the
basically,
airport?
when I was working at the airport, I was in charge of work in progress. So I would have been basically overseeing all of this, writing all the documentation up and organising it all. But this is a massive piece of work. It's Taxiway Alpha in front of us, and they have been dabbling and doing bits of temporary repairs, but it needs a complete refurbishment, hence why it's closed. It's no time to be closed until the 3rd of March, but they do have a 1 week in hand for inclement weather. So they...
I think we're going to need that.
Well, yeah, hopefully they'll manage to get it fixed, but and they do say they can work 24 hours a day. They probably won't be, but it gives them the ability to do that.
Yeah,
but,
so I suppose will that be something that's decided if maybe they need to make up some time on the project, they can pull that extra resource in then?
Absolutely. And when they set the works up, as you can see, we've got lots of barriers everywhere. I think it's looking very, very good, to be honest. You've got the first set of very low-level sleepers painted red and white with the low-intensity red lights on them. That's protecting the works areas from aircraft accidentally turning off. Then you've got the plastic barriers with water in them that's protecting the runway from incursion. And then you've got cones out there. And then you can see, if you go pan to the left, Andy, you can see where the taxiway is. They've got some Harris fencing there with the tow boards on that's protecting the area as well. So lots of belt and braces out there, so they don't have any incidents of contractors going the wrong way or whatever.
Yeah, so we were slightly... one comment that came up on Sunday, which I didn't really know how to answer, to be honest, is the use of cones. Because we've all seen when the wind gets up.
They're weighted cones.
So they are weighted
They will
ones.
be weighted cones, yeah.
Yeah. So they should be absolutely
So they
fine.
won't blow because they're pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So to rewind, what would spark some big works like this? Like, what's caused it? Have they noticed degradation, or is it like a lifespan of
It's
taxiways?
the lifespan of the taxiway, because like a runway, for example, you probably get around 15 years out of the runways here at Manchester, probably more on the south side because it's not used as much. But it just wears out. It's the same as the roads. It just need to have refurbishment, and it's got to the point where we have a major refurbishment here. They're planing off the asphalt, putting back 150 millimetres of asphalt, and then they're also doing what's called some PQX repairs. And PQ is pavement quality concrete, and normally pavement quality concrete will take about 4 weeks, maybe 5 weeks to cure. PQS is a very fast setting concrete that literally takes a few hours. It's quite difficult to work with, and I actually had a consignment coming in once, and the vehicle got stuck in on the roads, and it had gone off by the time it got to us. So it is actually very useful for these sorts of repairs. So that's PQX, pavement quality concrete.
And every so often, I think it's more on Bravo than Alpha, we do see little patchworks being done, like little quick repairs that seem to only take a couple of hours or something like that. Is that kind of linked to this, or is that... Because it's hard to see what they're actually doing, but there has been quite a few we've noticed of little bits of work being done before this big...
Yeah, I mean,
job.
if basically you've got any cracks in the pavement, they can do temporary repair. But it's the same as everywhere. It gets to the point where you have to go in and do something major.
Yeah.
And that's what they're doing now at the moment.
Yeah. So what's the sort of process for this to happen? I guess you've got to arrange all of the contractors, the planning side of things, and then there's got to be NOTAMs going out, letting people know, because obviously it's completely non-standard now, isn't it, the taxiing at the airport?
Absolutely.
As well.
And this would have had quite a long lead-in time, because you do have, as you say, you'll have several different contractors. What normally happens, I don't know whether this is the case here, but I assume it is, you'll have the main civils contractor, and then they will have their own subcontractors, because then they can obviously schedule everything. That's usually the way it's put together. But also, of course, because we're on dual runway operations all day now, obviously if we're on single runway operations it would cause significant delays, then they've had to also liaise with ATC and get an extra controller in, because there is a separate controller for each of the two runways.
Right.
So they will have had to be looking at their rosters quite a way in advance. So this was probably on the cards for several months before they've actually started. The other safeguards they put in is... You can't see very well from here, but Andy will be able to see very well. The signs that are in place normally, you can see they've all been blacked out. And this is to discourage any, sort of issues or, mistakes made. So we make it look very unattractive. The lead-off lines on the runway, where you see with Sun Expresses, there'll be normally lead-off lines on the RET and also Taxiway Bravo. They have been removed. Yellow X's have been put on them. And a yellow X means it's closed, it's a taxiway. And also the lead-in lines and also the lights have also been edited out. So you can see, if you look to the left, there's a barrier there, and then that line there will have been removed. So again, you're not encouraging pilots to follow lit centre lines and lines, things like that. So
I guess there'll be some work needed to bring Runway 1 back into standard after the repair's been done then as well, isn't it?
Yes, indeed. And when they set everything up, they did it during a closure of Runway 1 at night, so operating off Runway 2, 23 left, 05 right, because obviously they couldn't be setting this lot up and removing the centre lines when it's operational. And when they put it back together again, they will be doing it on a night closure again. And that's stipulated in the documentation. So it's the same. One of the danger areas with work in progress is once it's closed, and it's open. It's that transition. And there's been lots of incidents and accidents around the world when there is confusion of is it operational, is it not. So the best thing is to do it on a night closure.
Just make it super, super obvious as well, like you say, with as much sort of bright blockings and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And I guess obviously pilots are going to be talking to ATC as well, and they'll be reminding them, you're going to be, as the Sun Express has just done then, backtracking, turning around on the runway. And I guess that means we're going to have greater separation between the arrival traffic, which is why the flow of the traffic has been reduced significantly as well. Malky, thank you very much for gifting another membership to the community. If you do have any questions, guys, get them in the chat if you want to know anything about what's going on here. We got the best person to answer that with us today. And Practically Geek returning for 11 months, saying, I've nearly got my red tail badge. Yes, just 1 month away, mate. Saying, see you at TAS next week. Is it next week? It's not this weekend, the weekend after?
It's not this weekend, the weekend after, yeah.
Wow. I'll have my name badge on. Great to see Debbie back, and thank you again for a brilliant show. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, Sunday, I don't know if you caught any of Sunday's show, Debbie, but it was chaos. It was chaos because not only did we have all of this work taking place, but we had really thick fog until about 10:30. I think it started to lift. And before we went live, we were just upstairs just having a bit of a natter because we thought, should we go live? Should we just do a bit of a talk show? And we put the scanner on, and we just caught a transmission where they were saying there was an hour delays at least on pushbacks, because they just said, there's no point. You're not going to get out anytime soon. So they were delaying departures as well, and it was, I guess that's really not what you want to happen when there's work like this being done, is it really?
No, I mean, when we go into low-vis anyway, it's a single runway operation because they can't use the second runway. So there's going to be delays anyway. And they put flow control on, which is done through Brussels. But with the work in progress as well, and the need to backtrack, obviously, it was causing even more delays. But, at the end of the day, they have to do the work and they have to take the consequences. Yeah.
And with regards to, obviously, I guess timing's really difficult at an airport, isn't it? Because you think, why don't you just do it in the summer because it's going to be nice weather, no issues, but then that's when the airport's going to be the busiest. So it's like a balancing act, isn't it, between what's going to have the least impact on the traffic, but when can we actually get the work done with the weather? I mean, what sort of weather can this work be done in? Pretty much anything, or?
Well, yes, well, within reason, obviously, if you're laying it, throwing it down with rain, it's probably cause a delay. But yeah, you can do, and usually they will do it in the winter, quite commonly because it's less busy, and they want everything open and running smoothly in the summer. So most airports in the UK will do that, and it's quite interesting because, for example, if you take Dubai, they will do their work during the day, because they're less busy in the day.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, their busiest time is between midnight and 5 o'clock in the morning. So they will do that. But then they have other restrictions. For example, they have restrictions on working in the summer during the daytime, sort of like about 12 till 3 because of the heat.
Yeah, that makes. I mean, luckily we don't have. Well,
we don't have those
luckily,
problems.
but we don't have those issues here in Manchester. Do we? It'd be nice to, maybe.
Yeah. So there's the Lingus 330. So you've probably noticed a lot of aircraft doing a backtrack and then doing a 180 on the runway.
Yeah.
And there's restrictions on the size of aircraft that can do that. So you've probably been seeing 737s, 321s, 320s. They're known as Code C aircraft, and it's dictated by the wingspan, and they're permitted to do a 180, but aircraft that are larger than that, so 757s that we have quite a lot, well, a reasonable amount, they're Code D aircraft. The one we've just looked at, the 330, is a Code E. So the smallest Code E is 330, the largest is 747-400, and then there's Code F, which is the A380, the 747-800, and Antonov 124. So there you go, a little bit of info.
So you can't, and I guess that's down to the where the engines are on the wing and not enough space.
It's just the ability to turn around on a 45-metre wide runway.
Right. Okay.
So, and then the other thing you can just see with the BizJets coming off there, that particular the taxiway there is basically a crossing point, and they've actually put a centre line in so that aircraft can actually turn onto the runway. But again, that's restricted to Code C aircraft.
There you go. So that's why we're seeing some aircraft hold down the end there. I mean, what's the sort of capacity down there? Is it? We've seen like sort of 3.
I think on Saturday when we were on Easterlys, I think we saw about 4 down there. I think they squeezed in a small one in. I think it was a Phenom or something like that. That was only little that they squeezed
right
in
up
at the
to
back.
his APU exhaust. Give it a good sniff.
So yeah, about 4. But what they were doing, it's probably not quite as noticeable here. But when we were in Easterlys, they were bunching them, so they were sending about 4 down there, and then maybe 5, having one lined up, and then shooting them all off.
Yeah. And
then sending the next lot down. So it was actually quite obvious what they were doing there.
Yeah, I guess that's I didn't even think about that. If they were on 05s for departures, that would really slow things down, wouldn't it?
They were with their Macho on Friday, I think. It was just an extra layer of chaos, I suppose you could say, but extra layer of management.
It's not chaos. It's managed very well.
Yes. But yeah, it was really interesting. And I mean, to have the second runway there has helped massively, and to use that taxiway as well, we've noticed, between the 2 runways is helping.
Yeah, I spoke to Debbie about this just before we went online, and I don't know. I fly in and out of here in the sim all the time. It didn't cross my mind. I don't think Andy thought about it. And then we were in the office and we just put flight radar up on the telly, and we were listening to the scanner in the background. And then we just saw it do that, and we just thought, of course, like, why? That is such an obvious thing to do. But he didn't even think that was, it wasn't happening on Sunday.
Yeah.
It didn't cross my mind that would have been a good idea, but you said you thought about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're holding aircraft, why don't you hold them over there? There's no reason you can't do that. Mm-hmm. So, it's something. It's really how ATC want to manage it. Yeah. And provided they've got the centre lines and the markings to do that, then it shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, so they were vacating left. You've got a chart upstairs. I don't have the chart there, but they were vacating left on there and then taxiing up and waiting for the aircraft coming down to Tango 1. And when they went into Tango 1, they then went left and shot across here. It's quite cool to see. But yeah, as you said, they were holding aircraft down the end, and then we just had like a conga line of aircraft just come past us and vacating. It was quite cool.
It's quite interesting to watch, actually. And of course, in the ATC, they obviously have to work hard to manage it. Yeah. But at the end of the day, the work has to be done.
Of course. Natasha, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships to the Airliners Live community. That's very kind of you, Natasha. I know you gifted a lot on Sunday as well, so thank you so much for supporting the stream. Really appreciate that. Ace Airstream says, I was at the RVP on Monday and Taxiway Bravo Zulu was being used instead of 180s and backtracking, but only occasionally for arriving aircraft. I suppose it's how busy the departures on 2-3 left are. I think that's what we were just discussing, wasn't it?
Yeah, because you could end up with a gridlock situation on the south side. So it's really for ATC to manage. I think also we need to work out, for example, when the aircraft on stand, they're then speaking to the ground controller. So the Brussels Airlines there that's just crossing. Now we'll speak to the Air 1 controller, which is for this runway, and then now it will be handed over to the Air 2 controller. So if you're actually going to vacate left, if you're in Westerlies, then of course you're then changing controller back to another controller again. So that makes it.
So if they vacate left, they're going to be on Air 1 on 2-3 right.
They'll be talking to once they turn left and they're on the south side, then they'll be speaking to the Air 2 controller that controls the south side. Then to come back and cross back again, they're going to have to switch back to the Air 1 controller, so it gets quite complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot of switching there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And then as soon as you're across, you're then going over to ground as well.
Exactly.
So, like five frequency changes in the space of a couple of minutes. And with those aircraft, they've only got the two in the box, haven't they? So you are messing around a lot, which I guess it adds to... It's another level for the pilots to keep an eye on as well. Diane saying, good morning everyone, great to hear Debbie again, really fascinating to hear all the information she's able to share. That's from Diane Haynes.
Man, the feedback we got last time we were on, Debbie, was a lot of good feedback.
Thank you.
People loved you. I think you're probably the most requested guest to come back on the show.
Listen, she'll put her feet up, don't you?
We'll have 2 cups of tea next time instead of 1.
But no, I think everyone's, when Debbie's coming back, I wish the show was longer and this, that, the other.
Yeah.
No, it was cool. I must admit, I kicked myself a little bit because I kind of felt like I didn't have enough questions prepared to ask you and stuff like that. But everyone kind of then said, "Oh no, the show was really good. We really enjoyed it."
I'll just chat away.
It was really good.
I think you have that ability to be able to expand on things, talk about things that are interesting, and I noticed that with our friend Captain Mark as well. He can just talk about stories that end up people learning from, and something I kind of struggle with, like pulling up just interesting facts and anecdotal things that you've had as well.
We're very good blabbers, aren't we? But we don't.
It doesn't amount to anything.
Go so far. Where was that message from Michael Atkins saying that's quite interesting for you guys in the simulators. We use a piece of software called SimBrief, which basically we feed in the information. It gives us our flight plans and the NOTAMs and everything like that. And they've actually integrated this workings into SimBrief, so there's a NOTAM in the simulator for the works that's taking place here. Whether or not VATS in Manchester are actually simulating this, I don't think they are. I flew out of there yesterday and they weren't. But that's something I'd like to see a bit more in VATSIM, I think especially with a lot of work like this, it would be really cool to see that simulated. And I know VATS in Manchester tend to be dual ops most of the time as well, and I'd much prefer they kind of followed the real world timings on that, but yeah, I guess it's down to
like for us here on the show though, it does make it a bit interesting because it's different. We're seeing unique angles, unique taxiing, just a different way of working, and it's pretty nice to see, to be fair.
Yeah, it's really good.
It was like the Sunday show, wasn't it? Because it was that paired with the unveiling of the airfield from the fog, mixed with all the different taxiing and stuff. It was crazy.
And a really good question coming in from Keith, actually. Keith Foisey says, nice to see Debbie again. Are the contractors that are working on the taxiway specifically trained for airfield working, and if so, in what way, says Keith?
They will have had a briefing regarding what they can and can't do, several meetings, to be honest, and there'll be a full risk assessment. But the contractors that we see working, some of them will have worked at airports elsewhere, but they're civils contractors, so you may find them on the motorway, you may find them on a runway, you may find them on a taxiway. Usually what happens is that, I know this was the case when I used to work here, there was they had their main civils contractor that they actually had a contract with them for 3 years or something to do any works that came up. But certainly what I would be looking for, if I went out to tender, I'd be looking for experience working on airfields.
Yeah, because I guess it's a completely different ball game.
Well, it is, because if you're working on the motorway, you can just stick a few cones around, and the vehicles can sort of weave around them. But you can't do that on runways, and you've got all sorts of issues with FOD. You don't want any bits of sort of pavement going into that has the potential to be ingested. So it is a lot more strict. And the regulations you have as well, because there's regulations, there's something called a runway strip, which has to be clear of obstacles. Each taxiway has a taxiway strip that you can't have any obstacles in, so you have to be mindful of all of that. And you'll notice that the airfield operations they're out there almost all the time. They're just driving past, which is really good because obviously they're just keeping an eye on everything to make sure there's nothing going amiss.
Yeah, I was just going to pick up on that because that's something I noticed was a lot more of the ops vehicles just driving over on the south side. They're waiting. There's a lot of people, just like you say, just keeping an eye open by the looks of it.
Well, they actually have there's several NOTAMs out for work in progress. This one, of course, I think there's about 4 NOTAMs out associated with this. There's also some work in progress further up as well. And when they have any centre lines that have been taxiway diversions that they've put in place, they will be unlit, so they have to put follow me's on in hours of darkness and low visibility. So they will have to bring in extra staff in order to be able to do those follow me's.
Yeah, there's so many sort of small aspects that I guess it's like Pandora's box, isn't it? You open it and all of a sudden you got to do this and you got to do that. And like you say, just small little details that you might not even think about for someone like us who are just watching, just how much work goes into something like this and how many sort of backups you need as well. Like you say, for aircraft with follow-me vehicles, and especially if you have pilots who maybe aren't familiar with the airport as well, this just adds to that.
Well, absolutely. So, I mean, any time a pilot can request to follow me. So, and sometimes when you're listening to the RT, you'll hear ATC shout up, any leader vehicle, on channel, for a follow me. And I've done many follow me's in the past. I've done any recently, of course. But I did have a situation once where, and I won't say which airline it was, but I had an aircraft. I was on the runway doing a backtrack, and of course we were going against the flow of traffic, so there was no lighting on there. Hence why I was doing a follow me, and it was for work in progress. And I had on the back of my vehicle, I had this big flashing light saying "Follow me, follow me." And the aircraft started to turn off the runway, and I'm thinking, where's he going? And ATC shouting at him, follow the follow me vehicle, follow, and he just turned off.
Oh.
And basically we had to start all over again. Unfortunately, he didn't turn off into any work in progress, but it was the most bizarre thing. I don't know what on earth the pilots thought they were doing, but that's the only time that's ever happened to me, I have to say.
And what's the biggest aircraft you've had doing a follow me?
747-400.
Imagine that you're just driving along, you're looking in your rearview mirror, there's a 747. that'd be nuts, that, wouldn't it?
That is cool.
But it's actually quite an interesting one because you have to gauge your speed for the aircraft itself, because some aircraft or some pilots will taxi faster, some will slower, so you have to gauge your speed so you're not going too fast and you're not going too slowly. So it obviously, if you do have taxiway diversions as well, the staff need to be fully familiar with the area that they're doing the follow me on before they actually do a follow me. So all I used to do, I'd always go out and just recce the area, so I was actually really familiar before I'd actually start doing follow me's.
And is it one person in the car, or do you have someone with you who's maybe got the charts? Or
no, usually there's one person.
Right. So you have to be, really familiar then, wouldn't you?
But these guys, they're familiar. They don't need the charts because they know the taxiways, they know where they're going and everything else. So it's pretty easy for them.
I've flown into Manchester loads of times, so I have to look at the charts. So I guess I won't be getting a follow me job anytime soon. Alison Yellen returning for 16 months of membership, saying great to have Debbie on again, always learn new things when she's on. Keep up the good work, guys, and hope to see you at the TAS Fair. Yes, we certainly will be at the TAS Fair. Yeah, we've already spoke to Alison. We've got our tables ready to go, and actually really interesting this time, Debbie, is our correspondent from Canada is coming. So Henry, who does our Canada Vancouver shows, is going to be at the table, and he's a big he collects travel agent models, the big massive one.
Oh wow.
And I'm always, whenever we're here, he's like, will you just do a walk around video and just show me what models he got in case I want to buy one? And he can do one himself now. He can go and have a good look around.
I'll come over and say hello then.
Yeah, he's great. He's really looking forward to it, and I think it should be a good weekend this time, guys. So if you've not maybe considered coming to the TAS Fair before, if you do enjoy our Vancouver shows, Henry is going to be there. He's looking forward to meeting you all, and he's going to be there for the full day as well. So make sure you come over and say hello to Henry and meet him in person, because it's not something that's going to be happening all the time. It's a long journey for him, and we really appreciate him coming over to enjoy the TAS Fair with us as well.
So as the chair of the Aviation Society, Debbie, I assume with the memorabilia fair, there's a lot of people kind of volunteering their time to help out, but are you still quite involved with running that fair? Are you kind of still there, like getting, I know Alison does a lot for it as well these days.
Alison is the main organiser, and she's our retail manager. She does an excellent job, I have to say. But of course, we are always looking for volunteers. So if there's anybody out there that is local, wants to volunteer, we would very much like to hear from you. But no, we have our volunteers that come over because, of course, we've got to set it up on the Friday, put all the tables out, which takes quite a long time. We also, on the Sunday, when everybody's exhausted, we have to then break it all down.
Yeah.
So that it does take quite a lot of work. So I won't be there on the Friday because I'll be flying back from Riyadh. I'm not going to Riyadh this coming Saturday, but I will be there on Saturday and Sunday next week. So are you there for both days, or is it just the one day?
We just do the Saturday.
Okay, well, I'll come over and say hello. And how many millions of tables have you got this time?
Same as last time. So we got
the room.
We got 6 tables worth of space, but we've only asked for 4.
Right.
Because we kind of learned on the other year that we need to allow some queuing space.
Yeah.
So we've booked out a couple of extra whips for that. And what we wanted to do this year, which we thought was quite nice, is we have a lot of people coming from the community with, different, their own issues and stuff like that. And some people did say, I love the task fair, but it was really busy. I didn't feel like I could really kind of get away anywhere and stuff. So what we're going to do this year is just put a little quiet seating area just next to where our table is, just a couple of chairs out, so if anyone is maybe a bit overwhelmed or anything like that, there's a little area there where you can just sit, and a couple of our moderators will be there to have a chat with you and sort of see what you're up to and what you're enjoying about the task fair and stuff like that. So we're trying to sort of cater for everybody. So if maybe sort of busy events isn't your thing, guys, we're trying to look after you guys as well and make sure you can come and get involved in your own way as well. I know we have a couple of community members who literally just come and just like to sit off to the side and just enjoy the hustle and bustle. So, wow, that all went a bit deeper than I expected. Look at the size of the hole then.
It reminds you of
that was like Mary Poppins. Look, he's going to pull a lamp out. Watch it. Look how deep that goes.
Yeah.
They're still going.
Look, there's not a puddle there, and you step in it and you disappear.
Wow. I didn't realise it was that deep.
I remember, this is going back to when I worked at the airport, we had a pretty catastrophic failure of one of the pavements. Was between sort of towards the end of Pier B on the taxiway there, and we had no idea. We couldn't work out why it just failed, and we actually found some very old maps from, I think, about 1915 or something, 1920, and it showed an old pond there. And we actually found, when we dug it out, we found that we think it was during the wartime use. They just put a load of rubbish in there and filled it up. And then, of course, we didn't realise it was there, and then it just really just broke up really very, very quickly. And it's amazing what you find. If you go to Norwich Airport, they still have the old gun turrets actually in the grass there, and where they used to, from World War II. So sometimes on airports, you find very odd things that you don't expect.
That's amazing. And Diane saying a big shout out for Dan, the aviation man who's on board this Iberia Express aircraft. So have a great flight.
Awesome.
Louis, thank you so much for your 21 months of support, saying time flies when you're having none. So you're regular. You're regular, thank you very much.
So the other thing as well that the airport will need to think about is the PPE requirements, personal protective equipment and stuff like that. They are different for the contractors and for the airfield ops people, and they're usually more onerous for the contractors. So if I, for example, went into their area and got out my vehicle, I would have to be kitted up in all of their equipment that they wear. And we've got these very, very sexy, gorgeous boots, and they look like Herman Munster boots because they've got not just the toe protectors, the whole tongue at the front, and you clomp around in those things. So it's actually quite interesting. So
just see how the different areas, it's all sectioned off.
Yeah.
And they're obviously confined to that area as well. I assume there'll be sort of no coming and going to... I guess that's all sort of timed as well, is it, with changes of crew and everything like that working? Yeah,
I mean, they will be confined into the areas that they can work in, which is why you've got all these barriers everywhere. And it makes it very, very clear, and they're told they're obviously not allowed to go out of those areas.
So you won't see them sitting on the grass having the lunch at any time?
No, I don't think so. Well, would you want to sit on the grass in this weather? I don't
not
think
in this weather, no, but if the sun came out, I'd like to watch a little... I mean, I guess that's another thing, really, that... I'm just putting myself in their shoes. If, say, you are a contractor, and obviously if you do a lot of work at airports, it's probably not a thing anymore, but if you're a new person doing it, I can imagine just getting quite distracted by, especially if the A380 is coming into land or something like that, and you're just standing and having a watch. I guess there is an element of distraction there, isn't there? Because it's quite a weird working environment, isn't it?
It is, and there are obviously regulations, rules. I mean, these guys, they've got Allied on the back, and they're experienced in working on airports. So they're probably not even getting distracted. They're just you can see they're just carrying on.
I would totally be distracted, 100%.
But their access route as well, it's quite interesting. You see the road just ahead of us.
Yeah.
That used to be the old Wilmslow Road, apparently, and it used to cross the runway there.
I remember Peter saying that, actually, on a show, And
so if you look at old maps and things, you'll see that. But that's their access, so they'll be going out of the gate there, so it's pretty easy, so they're not even having to go into the manoeuvring area.
Oh, right.
So they
the gate down there, sorry?
It's just here, there's a gate here.
Oh, right, where the Premier Terminal is.
Or just the other side of that.
That's pretty close then for them.
It's quite easy, so it's that's a good one. Because what you always want to strive to do is to keep your operational areas completely segregated from the non-operational areas, because these guys, they're used to working on airports probably, but they're not used to speaking to ATC, and if you go in the manoeuvring area, then you need to be speaking to ATC.
Yeah. Quite a few aircraft crossing over to the south side, the Air France initially over to Paris, Ryanair Max for Copenhagen, and the Turkish A321 for Istanbul.
I'm glad it's not me that says these things like that. So the engine test bay as well has also been restricted to Boeing 757 size. So if there is anything larger than a Boeing 757 because of the work in progress that wants to do an engine test, it will have to do an open field test, which I think we did see once before. Yeah. I think it's because of the restriction when they're doing some work on the this taxiway here.
Yeah,
it's restricted, so they can't.
Right.
They can't. So basically, you never know. We may be lucky and see an open field test.
Yeah, that'd be nice. We've seen a couple of them over there, haven't we?
On Taxiway Kilo.
Yeah, where they really given it the beans a few times, and that was great to see. Really good. Of course, the Air France A220. If you've not seen our latest video on the Airliners Lounge channel discussing the Pratt & Whitney engine troubles at the moment, make sure you head over there and give that one a watch. It's been very well received. It's been performing quite well on the old views, and if you want to see Andy travelling through the worst rated airport in the country, head over and watch that video as well, because that's doing really well as well.
Yes.
Do you know which one that is? You'll have a guess?
Well, it's by user reviews. That's the caveat. So whichever has the worst rating on user. And it's not in the north, put it that way.
No,
it's down south.
Go on then. Which one is it?
Luton.
There you go.
London. Have you ever been there, Debbie, before? London Luton?
Oh, yes, I have. I went spotting there with Peter once. We sat on the top of the car park, took a packed lunch, nice picnic. I've also flown out of Luton a few times. Gosh, what is it? I think it was it Virgin years ago used to fly to Maastricht?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was in the 80s. That was when I was in the Air Force. So what we used to do is go out of there and then get to Maastricht, and then we just call up and say, somebody come and rescue me, because we were going then just across the border to RF Larbrook.
Yeah.
So yes, I have been to Luton, but I haven't been there in the terminal for a long time.
One thing that did strike me is they still have the car park being demolished. You know, the one that had that big fire.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's I think it's called Car Park 2, I think they call it. And it's just right there in front of the terminal building. So as you enter in the building, you turn around and it's just there. It's just, kind of fallen to bits. It's in a process of, demolition. But there's a lot of cars still in there. It's very strange. But
do we know what caused that fire?
I don't know. No, I don't know what caused it. But obviously it was very, very, very big and catastrophic. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe there's a report out there you can read, I don't know.
Well, if it was an aircraft one, there would be a report out, but it's a car park one, so I'm not sure where to look for that one.
Yeah.
Sweater seems to be really confused about what's going on here. We're a live streaming channel. We focus on the aviation, and we're live from a public viewing park called the Runway Visitor Park here at Manchester Airport. You can come down, you can get involved yourself, and we're streaming from the Aviation Society commentary tower. So this isn't a publicly accessible bit of the RVP. It's just used for the commentary team, and we're lucky enough to have a little hatch out the roof. There it is, Brownie filming there, and it gives us a nice view over to both runways. And we've got with us Debbie today, Debbie Riley, who is a aviation professional. She's been working in the industry for a long time and used to be heavily involved in Manchester Airport on the planning side of things, hence why we're discussing all of the work that's taking place here. If you have got any questions on that or how this work is put into place at an airport, put them in the chat and we can ask Debbie for the answer.
In fact, I'll tell you, one of my favourite contracts that I've ever worked on was at Oxford Airport. And we were doing runway widening, resurfacing and installation of an ILS, an instrument landing system. And we were doing the safety oversight, so we were actually out there overseeing the works. And my experience before that was like, you know, you're doing a runway resurface, it's in the middle of winter, it's at night, and it's cold and it's horrible. And we were doing it in the summer there. And because of their profile of their traffic, we actually closed on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday and did the works there. And the contractor that we had literally just come off Heathrow. And it was like a little holiday for us all because it was in the summer and it was nice. And it was a really great contract. And if there was a good football match on, we all finished early and went to watch the footy in the pub.
That's the way to do it. And just seeing the EasyJet there, really giving it the beans to get off at the taxiway, saves it backtracking. And it is something quite rare, guys, that you'll see aircraft vacating there on a regular show for us. Obviously, whilst this work's taking place, you're seeing it a bit more often. But usually you'll see them vacating on the rapid exit taxiway in front of us just to reduce wear and tear on the brakes of the aircraft and less reverse thrust being used and stuff like that.
Well, the rapid exit taxiways are designed for the aircraft types operating here for an aircraft to vacate the runway at 93 kilometres per hour in wet runway conditions.
Oh, right. What's that in miles per hour?
I don't know. It just says 93 kilometres per hour in the regulations.
Someone do the quick maths. 93 kilometres an hour.
And can you still be using reverse thrust at that point as well as you exit the runway, or is there a specific thing saying you have to...
I honestly don't know. You need to speak to a pilot on that one. So if there's any pilots out there, give us an answer. It's a shame we haven't got Anthony, who's one of our commentators, with us, because he's an ex-777 captain from Emirates. He's retired now. So he would be able to answer the question. And, of course, one of our former commentators, Andy Peoples, he was commentating during COVID, but he's now gone back to Emirates flying the A380, so he comes in sometimes.
Little claim for fame. Hopefully we'll see him on a show at some point. And Rocket Wolf, welcome in, mate. Glad you're enjoying the stream. He said that EasyJet slammed on the skidders. Yeah, he really did. He give the brakes a good press then, didn't he, to get off at that taxiway. Welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing well. And Mike Rogers gifting a membership to the community. Thank you very much, Mike. That's very kind of you, mate. Cheers for supporting the channel. If you are enjoying the stream today, that's the best way to support Airliners Live and give back to our community at the same time. And Doug, I think we did touch on this earlier on, but just saying, when do we think the airfield work will be completed by? We said it's got contingency into the first week of March, haven't we? So
3rd of March it's due to open, but they have a week's weather contingency. So if they obviously finish earlier than that, then they will open. And as I mentioned earlier, it will be done, the breakdown of this will be done at night during a closure of 2-3 right. So and it's a shame actually, because we don't really ever see, or very rarely see, operations off runway 2, because of course they do have regular closures once a month or once every couple of months to do maintenance on runway 1, and they'll operate at night off runway 2, but of course we're never here to see it.
It's one of the things people have kind of half joked about sometimes, in when we're doing the evening shows in the summer period. Said, just hide below the windows and just camp overnight in the RVP. do a show, a nighttime show, a nighttime show from the RVP. I think would be incredible. But yeah, like
although
you say,
it's not busy though, is it, at night?
It's not, but like
really
you say,
not,
you'd see different things, and it's Southside at nighttime probably isn't the place to be taking a load of equipment. So. It's kind of off the charts.
We've come down in the evening, like in the summer evenings, late evening, when it's just sunsetting, and you can get some gorgeous shots of the planes over as they're about to touch down on 2-3 right. But there's just not much going on, is there? That you'll get like just some narrow bodies, and that there's the Emirates A380 that comes in the evening, and that's kind of it, really.
It is really. It's it gets to be chewy, sort of Jet2, Ryanair, EasyJet party, really. But,
I must admit, we've noticed for the first few weeks, especially of this year, that the Wednesday shows for us, traffic-wise, have been a lot quieter than than our usual midweeks, even going back into December. I mean, it was really busy, but the first few weeks of this year have been very quiet on the midweeks, which I guess helps with works like this being done as well.
Exactly. This is exactly why they're doing it now, because it's the least busy time.
Whereas the Sunday show, for example, like that can be so busy. Even this time of year, we're still seeing it super busy on a Sunday.
And Matt's Friday show, to be fair, is really busy as well.
Yeah.
Might have to nab his Friday show.
You want to swap?
So I guess looking at all this work that's taking place, and what sort of things will be happening? So I guess it's something that's not going to be happening very often. So maybe things may also be getting, what's the word for it? Like, you take the opportunity to do a bit more than what you need to do whilst you've got everybody here. So they're going to be stripping everything right back for this whole period, are they? Or
well, they'll be planing off the top of the asphalt surface and then relaying that. They'll also take the opportunity, if there's any electrical works to be done, they'll do that as well. So once it's closed, you'll do as much as you can. I think they're also doing some work in the soft areas as well, maintaining those. So you will do that. I mean, for example, in the 1990s, when we did a major resurface of Runway 1, and we were still, of course, single runway operation then, and we actually took the opportunity to build the stubs for the taxiways to access Runway 2.
Yeah.
So you will always do that, so take the opportunity to do that. When we did the last resurface, I think it was 2011 they did that. They also took the opportunity to reinstall the new lighting and things like that. So yes, take the opportunity always to do as much as you can. Yeah,
because they've took the lighting up here you mentioned earlier on as well, haven't they? So that'll be getting put back down. I assume. I don't know how old the lighting was on this part of the runway, but I guess if it needs it, it'll be modernised as well.
Yeah, but they'd also have to remove the lighting in order to plane off the surface as well.
Yeah.
So, and they don't need the lights, of course, because those lights will be extinguished. The way they do that, they have a touchscreen lighting control panel up in ATC, and they have a second one for the electrical engineers as well. And they will edit it out so that even if ATC make a mistake, we're all human, we all make mistakes, and accidentally turn the lights on, they won't come on at all.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
So that's the way it's done. The other ways you can do that in the older days, when you couldn't do that, is they would probably take them out and put blanking plates on. Mm-hmm. But these days, with touch screens, it's just easy. It's just a software change.
Yeah, that's really clever, isn't it? And it's little things like that you just don't realise that just happens. We've seen it a couple of times while we've been live streaming and the lights just come on along the taxiway and stuff like that.
Well, also, the other thing they need to think about is in low visibility operations, runway inspection taking place there. You can see low visibility operations, there's only specific routes that they can use. And they have a block-to-block system. So you'll have one aircraft in a block, so have a lit red stop bar, and then they will... The lights after that are extinguished, so they actually sit in that block, and it's only when the next block is free they can move them on, which is why you have these, issues with your movement rate is going to go down because of flow control. So they have a block system. Of course, if you have work in progress in one of those areas, then they will then have to put follow me on and have extra sort of procedures in place to manage it.
Yeah. And just off to the left, Andy, kind of in front of us where the two vehicles are, I'm sure there's some quite... There they are. There's some quite big... Is that the holes there or on the left?
Right in front or...
There, yeah. You just gone to the right. There. What's going on there? It's quite a big... okay, it's just the edging, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, I get you, okay.
It kind of looked like a big kind of hole had been dug when you scrolled past it a minute ago.
Not like the big hole that he had his arm down before. Yeah, it is fascinating. I think the last time I seen works this size might have been when they were overhauling where the Premier terminal is now. Like you said, Debbie, they've been doing a lot of work overnight as well. Like I know, was it last summer, maybe in autumn time, where they do that overnight work on 2-3 right, but you don't see that though, is the thing.
No, you don't, and they actually do it quite regularly. If you look at the note times, it's. I think they schedule it in because they have to give 6 months' notice to the local communities if they're going to operate off Runway 2 at night. So what they do at the beginning of every year, they choose a few days each month where they can close that, and they just release that information out to the local community. Of course, if it was an emergency, like if you have an aircraft that's disabled on Runway 1, or Runway 1 has a a hole in it, which hopefully that wouldn't happen, then they can operate runway 2. But if it's scheduled maintenance, then they basically have to give 6 months' notice, which is quite a lot. But if you're going to do a major resurface, well, you don't just get up in the morning and think, I think I'll resurface the runway today. It's an awful lot to do. And, of course, the money has to be, it's capital expenditure. They have to budget for that as well.
I noticed on Sunday that the term flow rate got used a lot as well, obviously with the low vis and also this. Is that significant, looking at like the flow rate? Is that really going to disrupt things, or does that literally just mean that you've got to stagger things a little bit more? And
it's obviously potentially leads to potentially significant delays, and I know that some aircraft were diverted on Sunday. So I think they had a flow rate on of 12 arrivals per hour.
Right.
And that's because, of course, there's a number of reasons. We have the ILS, the Instrument Landing System, and you have the localizer at the end of the runway, which keeps the aircraft on the centre line. Now, of course, that beam can be disrupted by any vehicle or aircraft that's on the runway, so they have to increase separation. Even when, irrespective of the work in progress, they would have to increase separation so the aircraft can vacate. But, of course, when they're backtracking on the runway in single ops, then, of course, that is disrupting the beam, so they will have to really increase separation significantly. So that was really why they have these flow rates. And I think even after 2000 hours, when they go into single runway ops, they've got a flow. I've noticed that there's a flow rate gone on a few times. So that will be done. And basically, flow control, they will put that on. So if we have fog forecast, then this applies to all the airports in Europe. They will look at that forecast. They will put a flow rate on there. That is then communicated to Brussels. And this is why we don't see these mass diversion situations that we used to get in days past. It was great fun, for all these aircraft. And because they put flow control on. So if Heathrow, for example, and Gatwick are going to be in fog, years ago they would just carry on and they'd end up with aircraft diverting all over the place. But now they'll put flow control on, so the first stuff to go is the domestic stuff, then it's the European stuff, so they can bring in the long haul. So that's why we don't have mass diversion situations.
There you go, so you're not seeing the likes of all random 747s coming into Manchester.
I'm afraid not. In fact, the last mass diversion situation we had here was probably going back into the early noughties, and it was due to wind, strong winds, which is unusual. They don't have a mechanism for putting flow control on for that. So they didn't, and we ended up with loads and loads of diversions. And I remember getting a call at 5 o'clock in the morning saying, get in here, and runway 2 hadn't, it was probably about 2000 because runway 2 was still under construction, but basically pull the fence down so we can park aircraft on the south side.
Yeah. So he's keeping an eye on where he's going with that little machine there. He's going to be digging some more holes by the looks of it.
You're quite fascinated with watching, aren't you?
I was saying on Sunday's show, one of my main sort of interests is just liking to know how things work. So different bits of machinery or different vehicles and stuff. So stuff like this, I just love it. I just love watching, like, what's he doing and why is he doing that? And I guess I'm just nosy, I guess. Aviation on stand as well. Arrived in just before we went live, unfortunately, folks.
It's actually pretty early coming in today as well, which is a bit unusual. Lately, the last few weeks, it's been rather consistently a bit late. So nice to see that for a change. I think it usually comes in just after 11. It's scheduled anyway, but it's more like half 11, 12 we're talking usually.
I think this was mentioned on the last time you was on, Debbie, as well. But Pia just saying, Debbie, your voice and language is a pleasure for all of us foreigners. Never mind the info you provide us with as well. So we did say, I think we came to the conclusion that you have quite a broadcastable British voice, we've said. So,
not the northern lilt.
So that's it. When you've had enough of travelling everywhere, maybe look into voiceovers, freelance voiceover artists.
Audiobooks.
Yeah. Oh, yes, and of course, don't forget, Andy, bit of heads up to you. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody who is watching. Do not forget. Boys, if you're listening, if you've forgotten, get out some Marks and Spencer's quick. They had loads of flowers in yesterday.
I actually had to nip the shop yesterday for some pancake-related things, but
there
was a huge queue at the self-checkout of every bloke with just one card, a bouquet of flowers, and a bottle of wine.
Is it just me, right, who feel really, really awkward when you go into the shop and there's like 3 lads in front of you and you're all stood there with chocolates, flowers and a card and everyone's looking at each other thinking, women must just laugh their heads off at us because we all just do the same thing.
Yeah, we do.
It's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But it's just funny because it's all like walks of life, isn't it? It's not just like young men or whatever. It's every man, like every kind of man you can imagine.
I just think to myself, does Jen just say, "Oh, that's really nice of you," just to say, "Oh, you know what I mean"? It's just you can't all be happy with that, sure.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So you can see just to the left there's one of the ops vehicles has just escorted that vehicle in, and so once he gets to their own works areas, then they can be released off. But those, they will have briefed the driver of that vehicle and they will be briefed. They do something called toolbox talks, which you probably have, I don't know whether you've heard of.
I've not heard that, no.
No, okay, toolbox talks. Basically, it's from the construction industry, and at the start of every shift, you'll just bring everybody in and give them a briefing on some safety aspects. So it could be sort of, for example, here it could be FOD, it could be works areas, and the handling agents do that as well.
Yeah. With
their staff, and keep obviously a register and a log of that. And it's just another safety enhancement just to keep people reminded. Because, I mean, if this contract, I mean, this isn't very long, this is about a month. But, of course, a big contract can last several months. Or even in the case of Runway, 2 years. So you need to keep people refreshed and briefed and on safety aspects.
Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, I assume, to get something like this done. A lot of people coming and going as well. And I guess when it gets down to the concrete inside of things, as you say, it goes off quite quick. You're going to see a lot of deliveries coming in. Is it likely that that would be done in stages as well, the resurfacing, or do they try and get that done in one go? Because I've always wondered, when they resurface in runways and they do it at night, they kind of do it in blocks.
Yes.
I've always wondered where the blocks meet. Is there anything to look at there?
Basically, they'll start at one end and then work their way down. And I mean that's the normal way, and you can put ramps on the runway, and there's certain regulations on what the ramps can look like and how deep they are and things like that. So they'll work their way down. Sometimes there'll be reprofiling of a runway if it doesn't meet the correct slope requirements, because there are quite stringent slope requirements of both the transverse and longitudinal slope, and so you may want to reprofile that, for example. Over time, but if it's just a basic resurface, they'll start at one end and normally work their way down. Yeah.
And the hump at Manchester, has that ever been discussed at any point?
It has. It's basically it's they have actually levelled it out as much as they can, really.
Yeah, that's one that Captain Mark tends to talk about. He just uses chance just go over the hump a little bit and then touch down.
But I mean, if you're right at the end of 5 left at the end there, you cannot see an aircraft that's lined up there at all.
No, you can't. It's a big slope. You don't realise how. We've not been there in a long time actually, but we did used to go there to film quite a few videos, and as you say, even the big aircraft, you just can't, and then they just appear over the top, and you don't realise how much of a slope there is there at the beginning of the runway there.
Seen some smooth landings fall victim to that hump, haven't we?
Yeah.
Some pilots
coming in great, and then the hump catches you.
Yeah, that's it.
Hey up, Fez. Hope you're doing well, mate.
Hello. Good morning.
What time is it? Is it no time to go home? Fez is awake already.
5 to 12.
All right.
Oh, look.
Oh.
What are we saying? Oh, look. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
She's just
that's
vacated.
What we were talking about, vacating left.
That's cool. Yeah, it's probably because there's a plane about to touch down in the next minute or so. So I assume that hasn't got time to do the whole turnaround.
Yeah, I can see that.
Backtrack. Whereas, like you said, Debbie, this A320 can probably turn around fine on itself on the runway and then backtrack and get off that way.
Basically, it's an international regulation, to be honest, and it says that if there's not a parallel taxiway, then you shall have a turn pad for anything bigger than a Code C.
I think I remember you saying that you're a fan of Qatar Airways, because I think you said you've flown with them a few times.
I've flown with them a few times. Yeah, they are a nice airline.
What do you think of their A350s? Do you think they look look nice?
They are. I've actually flown on the A350. It was I was working in Mali in the Maldives. Now I know that sounds absolutely fantastic, but it's not. When you're working, you're not seeing the fantastic hotels. You're just sort of in a normal hotel. And so I flew from Qatar, Doha to the Mali on an A350. Very nice aeroplanes. They're nice and new. But I've been on Turkish A350 as well, and inside, they obviously I was fortunate enough to be in business class, so they're really all aisle access now, and just really, really nice seats. Yeah,
it's good to see Qatar operating these. It's a nice change from the triples. And we did see rumours on the grapevine as well that, or they may even be confirmed, that Emirates were looking at an extra service with a 777 coming into Manchester.
I've not heard that one at all, actually, I have to say. Oh, look at the spray colour on that.
Where did we see that one, Andy? Was that a Twitter thing?
I don't think that's a thing. I don't. Yeah,
you don't.
No,
I've just done the route.
Why do you know that I don't? I'm sure we saw it from quite a credible.
It might be on the inside, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
not for But yeah, they're operating the 3 A380s per day, and awesome to see the likes of like Royal Jordanian as well, with the Dreamline is apparently confirmed. They're on the website now as well, showing us.
Yeah, and Andy Peoples, one of our task committee members, he does the updates for Wing Words on the route news.
He does,
and I'm sure, as he works for Emirates, he would know about an Emirates if it was actually going to happen, and there's nothing there, so...
Yeah, that magazine, by the way, that is one of my favourite articles, because it's very useful as a Manchester spotter as well to see what's going on.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of new airlines in the works, but I think one of the big issues is like capacity, isn't it, at Manchester Airport? The ability to expand and bring on new big airlines.
Well, I think once the T2 transformation project is actually complete, I think they'll be in a pretty good position. But of course, at the moment, they're just building the second pier for that particular project, and of course that means that they've got capacity with stands. They are very short of stands, so it is challenging for them. The other one that is also on the grapevine is China Eastern. Shanghai service.
Yeah, with the triple.
I've heard about that.
That's going to be really nice to see.
And there are slots in the system for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's not been officially confirmed either by Manchester Airport or China Eastern, but there are slots in there, so it would be nice if that did come off.
Yeah, it's the thing, isn't it? You do see a lot on Twitter that kind of just turns up, and then you just think, how's that got there? When, like you say, it's not even been confirmed by the airport, but... Yeah, there is a few rumours circulating around. Whether or not they happen or not, I don't know. But
it was like
China Eastern would definitely be, if that comes off, that'd be mega.
I think a few airlines have had slots appear, haven't they? And they've just not come to fruition. Like, what was the last one? Air India was another one that appeared, and they had like a route to Mumbai, I think, and that appeared on Manchester Airport's website as well. And again, that just disappeared. But there's obviously talks going on there and back and forths, and they are getting new airlines as well, which is nice.
Yeah, and sometimes you get like paper airlines where they're there on paper, but they haven't got any aircraft, and they'll sort of go in and put slots in, but nothing ever happens. So that's something that you also hear as well.
Yeah, I think we've got next month. Is it Luxair?
Yes.
And there's another
with the Dash 8s, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think Royal Jordanian are starting next month as well. So that's two that I know that seem to be happening.
Yeah, if the Luxair one happens, that'd be great, because it'd be nice to see some Dash 8s back at Manchester again. I do miss seeing those quite regularly. Obviously, we lost all of those with Flybe. Every now and again, I thought we saw a little Ethiopian one come across on a flight. But yeah, to see them regularly again, would be really cool. But yeah, especially the China Eastern. I did look into that, and although it's not sort of the best livery in the world,
no, it's not.
I mean, another 777 is something to keep an eye on. And we've said it before. We'd love to see some more sort of US flights happening, but I don't think that's really going to happen, unfortunately, at the moment. But
yeah, that's an interesting one, because they were flying here pre-pandemic, weren't they? And we had a lot of US routes as well with other airlines, but they've just not showed back up, have they, all the US carriers at all? It's like...
Well, the problem is, I think it's code share, isn't it? Because, of course, Virgin and Delta code share, so Delta's not come back because Virgin fly the Atlanta route. And then, you've got obviously Star Alliance and things. You've got Aer Lingus flying to New York. So the routings, I think, have all been taken up by UK operators, which is a shame, because it would be great to see American back and things like that, but...
I guess
we had American United as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
I guess it's a big cost, isn't it, to start a new route to Manchester, because you're effectively basing staff here and things like that on your end. And obviously the facilities at Manchester as well to use have their own cost.
Yeah, I mean, things have changed a lot. I mean, I remember when I first was, used to work here, they used to have a daily TriStar British Airways from New York.
Wow.
And that... you never see anymore.
We saw some photos that someone put up on one of the Manchester groups from the archives, and just 747s everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
I
Did you
know.
see that the other day?
Yeah, on this day, however many years ago, in the 90s.
Insane. Jake, thank you very much, mate. Tier 1 for 15 months. Happy Valentine's Day for you as well. Hope you're doing well. And Tom and Anne gifting an Airliners Live membership to the community as well. Thank you very much. And a question that's come in a couple of times from Greg, actually, and I kept forgetting to pass it to you. He's really, really keen on trying to get an RVP-style attraction near where he lives. And he's saying, I want to get an RVP opened at our regional international airport near me, but how would I go about approaching the authority with the idea? Says Greg. I mean... Where would you even start on something like that? Is that something the airport would need to agree to first, or is that?
Well, I can tell you what happened with this place. We used to have a facility on the south side, and it was the old brickwork site, and it was the Aviation Society that went over there and sort of belonged to the airport, lobbied the airport. It was Peter Hampson, of course, and they cleaned it all up. And of course, when we had Runway 2, that removed it completely. So Peter, who was actually general manager airfield at the time, lobbied the airport for this place. So that's how. So it was actually kind of done internally in the airport, because Peter, of course, was actually working for the airport at the time as well as being chair of TAS. So I think that you would need to try and approach the airport and see if they have first of all land available, but B, if they'd be willing to obviously fund it, because this place does cost money, but it makes money as well.
Yeah.
So it pays for itself. But you would obviously, the airport's not going to put a facility together if they're not make any money out of it.
No, exactly. I think it would be something to definitely get a big bunch of names together, Greg, I'd say. A nice long list of people who want to get involved.
I feel like Manchester has a huge spotting community as well, and much bigger than some... like we mentioned about Henry over in Vancouver, and obviously that's an amazing airport. You see such variety, similar to Manchester really in terms of variety. You get jumbo jets there as well, amazing scenery and mountains behind, and great lighting as well, but the spotting community is just not as vibrant there, is it? You don't get as many people showing up with cameras, whereas here, the RVP, I mean, on a random Wednesday, there's a big gang of people over on the mound right now watching, and it's crazy. And you go south side, and there's always people there, isn't there? Thick and thin.
Yeah, I think it's like you say, the RVP's been here for so long as well that it's kind of people have grown up with the ability to easily access plane spotting at Manchester, and you've obviously got the south side, which we've been to quite a few airports, and even the south side alone, forget the RVP, that level of access is quite rare, isn't it? Like I've been to a few airports where you might get a little break in the bushes at one bit and then another bit there. I mean, and you're lucky to get that, whereas with us, we've got pretty much full access all the way around the airfield.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It was one of the caveats for building the second runway was to put in public footpaths, so the airport had to do that. It's one of the conditions.
Oh, right. What for?
For the permission to build the second runway.
And who lobbied for the pass? Sorry?
It was actually one of the conditions that was placed on it, that they wanted, sort of public footpaths. The other thing that they had to do as well, because obviously they destroyed many ponds to build it. Every pond that was destroyed, they have to build 2 more ponds. Again, it was another environmental condition.
Oh, wow.
And we have, great crested newts are endangered because they're as common as muck in the northwest of England. And they actually employed 18 newt catchers, and they took the water out of the ponds and put it in the new ponds, and they had to actually catch all the newts.
Wow.
And they had to build 2 bat barns as well because the farms were destroyed, and they had to encourage the bats into the new barns. Do you know how you do that?
Flap your wings and whistle?
No, you have to collect the bat poo, basically, and put it in the new facility, and that makes them go in. I have to say, that would not be my idea of it going into a new house, but that's the way they did it. So they built 2 bat barns. So there's lots of environmental. I think it was something like £17 million spent on environment.
Go around there with the EasyJet, I guess, due to the spacing with the Qatar backtracking there.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess it is really difficult in it to time that perfectly, but that EasyJet will make the right-hand turn over the top of the RVP. It's a standard missed approach procedure here at Manchester Airport, and there it goes. Great for us. Let's turn it up.
Yes, the Qatar obviously didn't go fast enough. These things happen.
Yeah. I wonder if Peter had any involvement in the missed approach procedure, making sure it comes right over the top of the RVP. That's what I'm talking about. Digital Pommy, thank you very much for the business class membership as well. Brand new VIP supporting the channel today. Thank you very, very much. And don't forget, guys, we'll get links in the chat as well. If you are enjoying all the information, there's plenty more of that from the Aviation Society. They do regular events where they get guest speakers in and you can get involved, and they also do trips abroad and airport visits as well, along with the monthly magazine which you can get involved with. And if you want to sign up for that, it's really cheap, guys. It's great value for the year. There'll be links in the chat. Make sure you go and sign up, and you don't have to be local to Manchester for that. You can get involved. And previously we did the first one a couple of months ago. We actually live streamed one of the guest speakers as well, and we may be looking at doing more of those in the future as well. So get yourselves involved in the Aviation Society, and we really appreciate that. And let us know if you're a TAS member as well in the chat. We'd love to know how many of you are involved.
So if you are abroad or not local, you can do an e-membership, where you get your magazine as a PDF copy, and that's just £14 for the year.
There you go. Spend more than that on a bunch of roses today, boys.
Now, you see, why don't you be a bit more interesting? Rather than giving roses and flowers and things like that and chocolates, why don't you give it a TAS membership? That'll go down well with the wives.
True romance.
Not only do I spend all my time at the airport, now you can too.
Or maybe that's not such a good idea.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. Beautiful head-on shot of the 350 as it vacates right.
It's a good last-minute thing now, Everyone's out of stock, but that's not. So
there you go. And ladies, if you're watching, that'd be quite a good present for that. I've not had my present off Jen. I don't know what she's got me yet. Probably a clip round the ear and a cup of tea, probably.
So you're not going to wine and dine this evening, then?
No, we were actually planning on ordering in this evening, and then as we were driving in, I've given her a ring because on the news, heads up as well, blokes, if anyone's watching, you're planning on ordering in, Deliveroo, Uber Eats, and the other one, I forget who it is, are all having a strike tonight for 5 hours.
Oh, my word.
And they've planned it to coincide with a really busy night for takeaway. They're all going on strike for 5 hours, and they said on the news, don't bother because you're not going to get your
Was that instructed by their missus, was it?
I don't know.
You can't go into work tonight.
I think it's some sort of dispute over pay and stuff, but yeah, they're all striking tonight, so we've had to scratch that, so we'll probably pick up some steaks or something on the way home, I think.
Yeah.
And Natasha gifting another 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Natasha. Really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Used to be the way that you just phone up the restaurant and just get them to deliver it, right? But now it's all through all these delivery apps, isn't it?
And you know what? Deliveroo are really cheeky now. So they have what's called a premium delivery. If you want the driver to go from the restaurant direct to your house, you have to pay an extra £2.99 on the delivery.
Oh, right.
And if you don't, they pick up another order on the way past and then come to you. So your food takes even longer to come. And they try and deliver like 2 at once. So, it's a bit naughty, that.
Interesting.
Or if you're like me, I never, ever, ever order in.
You don't?
No.
Well, the thing is, the reason why we order in is because you can order in from restaurants now a lot. So rather than it just being your usual sort of greasy takeaway and stuff, a lot of the restaurants are kind of capitalising on a lot of people doing it. So you can actually get really nice quality food being delivered, which is what we like, because me and Jen kind of enjoy just chilling out, putting something good on the telly, but trying to get some nice food to have with it, it's quite good for that.
Norwegians don't usually look like this, do they? The blue.
No, it's
there,
a blue engine.
the blue winglet as well.
Yeah.
That's not normal. That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
Looks almost like that strange, outlandish Jet 2 that we seen the other day going to East Midlands for the paint shop down there.
Oh, you mean the ex-Pegasus?
I think so, yeah. But
They've taken a delivery of 2 of them, actually, and they flew in as Pegasus with Turkish registration, and they're now UK registered.
Yeah.
Both 7.3s, I think.
Yeah, I said to Debbie we managed to get a picture of that the other day as it taxied out for painting.
Yeah, it was pretty gnarly, wasn't it?
It'd be nice to see when that one comes back. The unmistakable sound of the ATR taking off on the south side. It's heading
Noisy.
over to Belfast.
For such a small aeroplane, they make one hell of a lot of noise.
They do, don't they?
They're quite amazing. The smaller ones, the 42s, they actually can land and operate off non-paved runways.
Oh, wow.
They used to... I've flown on the Oman Air, but they've got rid of their fleet now. But they used to land at desert airstrips in the centre of Oman, which was always quite interesting.
That is so cool.
That's how does that happen with regards to like sort of sand ingest into the engine and stuff like that? I guess there's a lot more regular maintenance and stuff on those.
Yeah, they have to do extra. But they had kind of a skirt on the bottom to stop some of the FOD coming up.
Oh, right.
And but they used to literally operate all over them. The guys used to love flying them because it's all VFR.
Yeah. Get them into bar.
Yeah.
So it's the pushback crew.
I did think that.
Imagine.
Yeah.
Like a generator of some sort being delivered over there now.
It's very busy, isn't it?
Yeah, I could just sit here all day watching this.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be watching the planes.
I know. I just love watching stuff like this. Just how it's done. I don't know what it is. It just fascinates me.
The construction site visitor park.
Yeah.
Come and see men at work.
So you can see they've got a lot of mobile lights out there as well, so if it does get dark or if operate at night, they can just put those on.
Yeah.
One of the considerations for that, of course, is that it will need to be orientated so it doesn't dazzle the pilots. It's not pointing at the runway, it's not pointing at the live taxiways.
Yeah.
So that's another consideration that they will have to think about when setting up the site.
So it seems like they've only took out up to where that digger is now, isn't it?
Yeah.
At the minute, and they're going to work down along. But are you able to kind of look at this now and kind of see what they're up to or whereabouts they are in the progress, or?
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, they've obviously planed a lot of the asphalt off.
Yeah.
Haven't seen any asphalt coming in today at all. Then obviously they've got other works taking place at at the side as well with the soft the ground, the grass. But again, the thing that you have to think about with that is wildlife, because once you start scraping off the surface, then you're exposing all the bugs and things like that and worms, and you then end up with more birds coming in to feed. You will have to think about wildlife hazard management and how you actually reinstate it, and making sure you also don't want to have major equipment on the grass areas unless, of course, it's doing work, because that will compact it and then give you a drainage problem, and that will then result in bird problems because you then have standing water.
Yeah, and they'll just be gathering around it.
Yeah.
It's like a minefield of stuff, isn't it? That everything has a knock-on effect, doesn't it? And is that kind of where you came in with regards to risk assessments and stuff? You have to think about all these.
You do.
And is that something that you're taught, or does it have to happen for you to then consider it next time? Because it just seems like so many little things can happen to have a knock-on effect.
Well, I mean, each piece of work is different, but there are similarities. So what I have is I actually have a checklist of everything that I would need to consider, and I will go through that checklist. So, for example, if you're building a second runway, you need to think about airspace, because you need to reconfigure airspace, which is a massive one. So I have a checklist that literally goes through everything, and I tick everything off, and then what are the implications? And Manchester Airport will have the same thing, and they will have that. I mean, their operational advice note that they obviously issue NOTAMs, but they also have something called an operational advice note, and that is not a requirement. That's best practice that a lot of airports have. And so they will be able to put a plan in there and full details of what's happening. And they will send that out to all of the people actually working at the airport and all of the airlines that operate out of here. So they will have that information. And that will give them a lot more information that's in an OTAM. An OTAM is just a couple of lines.
Yeah.
But this is, I think it's about 6 pages. It's quite comprehensive. And it will tell you exactly what's happening, you know, and who's doing what. So it's actually quite a useful one to have. So I've just been reading off the ops advice note.
Yeah, it's quite a lengthy document, isn't it? But it does give quite a bit of detail on what's going on. Kevin, thank you so much for your support to the channel today. Premium Economy membership, really appreciate that. And if you have got any questions, guys, please get them in the chat before Debbie needs to leave.
So here's a question for you. I've heard you've got business class, you've got premium economy.
Yeah.
Do you have a first class?
We do.
You do?
We do, yeah.
Wow.
There's even higher than that, to be fair, isn't it?
We business class, then you can go to... You're going to test me now. You can go to jump seat after that, if you really want to get up front. And then we have executive club membership, and there's only a very small... That's a silly amount of money to support us with, but there's a few
people that do.
A very small amount of people who are executive club members, and we like to have a bit of a joke that we'd have a nice briefcase. And
who's in the hold then?
I mean, maybe we could introduce a really cheap membership and put people in the hold.
Standing class.
Ryanair vibes where he wanted to have a standing cabin.
Yeah. It was an interesting discussion, that one, how we genuinely tried to convince people that was a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, you stand on a train for, 20 minutes, so what about a flight for 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Was he being serious?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I think he was just trying to get... I think the thing is with Ryanair is they just try and... They're very good at publicity, aren't they?
It's like disruptive publicity, isn't it, really?
I find it quite funny, actually.
Yeah.
And Kevin saying, afternoon guys, great show again. The boss was able to get the stream for the show. There's 25 of us watching whilst we have our dinner at our desks, says Kevin.
Hey.
I am going to put it out there that Kevin works in one of the best places in the country. There you go. He's got Airliners Live on in the office. So welcome to everybody in Kev's office. And I'm going to ruin his day now because Kevin said, what does everyone want from the brew station? Get your orders in. Kev's going to make you all a nice cup of tea or coffee. There you go. Enjoy that, Kev. See you in an hour, mate.
You're just sinking behind his desk now. I'm not here.
I'm not putting this on again in the office.
It's interesting to see them actually operating the south side. And I don't know why it's taken them that long, really, but it's obviously working quite well.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense now. You see him doing it, but it didn't cross my mind for that. But no, like you say, it's a great option, and it makes sense as well. Like you say, whilst the flow's reduced anyway, to make full use of it.
There's like an Austrian coming in next. Don't see these too often on the shows. I don't know if they just don't fall on the same times as our live shows much, but nice to see.
Yeah, one's in from Vienna, and there's an EasyJet following that one in from Innsbruck.
I wonder if the Emirates A380 will be relatively on time going out today.
And the aircraft that went around is really took some altitude. It's up to 9,000 feet, which is quite surprising, unless that's just a bit of a bug, but I don't think so by the track of it. It's going across and it'll probably turn back left and come back around, so I guess that's some sort of sequencing, but I'm surprised by that.
That is strange.
Usually you just see them extend out towards Wigan, Bolton area and then turn back in. Yeah, very... yeah, that's very odd. It's climbing up to 10,000 feet.
That's a lot.
So which one are you talking about?
Oh, sorry, no, I'm looking at the wrong... I
think you're on the wrong one.
I'm on the complete wrong.
This is the one that did the go-around, and it's not at 9,000 feet. It's on the
I'm looking at... You know what? I was looking for the
outbound
EasyJet go-around, and I saw one that had gone off the runway and turned around. It's the one that just took off.
That makes sense.
I was like, that makes a lot more sense.
He's landed at Alicante. What's he doing?
So far on today's show, we've worked out that I can't be a follow me driver, I can't be a builder because I'll be looking at the planes, and now I can't be an ATC controller either. So if I lose my job at Airliners Live, I'm on the
You'd
dole.
be contacting them like, where are you going?
Where are you off to, mate? Excuse me.
I thought you were coming back.
Listen, I did a real horrendous one once. I was commentating, and I was distracted. And I said, and the aircraft that's just departing is going to Amsterdam, and it landed from Amsterdam. So I can't even get them right if they're departing or sort of landing or whatever.
Gosh, I do wonder how I make my way here in the morning sometimes.
So do you know who that's coming down the taxiway then?
I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, he's sulking now.
I am. Airfield duty manager.
It is indeed, yes. Ops 3.
And they'll be doing a check, I suppose, on what's going on.
Yeah.
Do you reckon all the builders like, watch out, duty manager's going.
Yeah. They're back
to work.
Yeah, there is a lot of ops vehicles moving around, isn't there?
Yeah.
Well, that will probably be in their risk assessment, that there'll be, a constant presence, more or less, just overseeing it to make sure that nothing's going amiss.
I think that's the job I could definitely oversee and watch what's going on. I'm doing that now.
That, yeah.
I'm doing that now.
You're on with a clipboard.
Oh, I wouldn't want to have a clipboard. I just watch and.
I've seen it in what's that? Is it Britain's busiest airport? Heathrow, that TV show. And they really show off the kind of telling people off aspect of that job as well, going around, like people parked incorrectly on stands and things, catering trucks in the wrong place. There's a lot more to it than, what you see, I think, here on the airfield.
I think that's the same with everything. Obviously, we stream week in, week out, and there's still things that we see that are completely new. Like, we look back on that snow stream day, which is still one of the best streams we've ever done, and you saw all the snow clearing on the runway and the big convoy of machinery doing that, and that's got to be one of my favourite shows ever. I'd say that we've been able to see, and just because of the new stuff that we saw,
Yeah, like the specific formation that they were travelling in and stuff.
It was so cool to see, and they all travelled down, and then they come up from the 05 end. It was really cool.
So she's stopped pretty quick, but not quick enough to make that exit there.
Yeah.
So probably going to see a backtrack here. But there is the Austrian still waiting to cross.
I wonder if one day at some point we replay that snow show day.
Yeah.
If for those, because I know we've had a lot of new viewers come into the stream since then. It was going back a good year or so. I can't remember exactly when it was.
Was that the one where you were on the mound?
Yes, yeah.
Is then that the one I came in? That one, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going back some time.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. So I was listening to you guys and everything, and I was communicating with the commentators. And the two people we had on didn't know anything about snow clearing, and I just thought, I'm going in.
You just go and do it. Oh, it was great. It was such a cool thing. But like you say, you just don't see it that often.
Well, no, I mean, and we don't get really very much snow at all anymore, do we?
No. We were kind of hoping for it the other day, and it just didn't materialise. We ended up just getting heavy rain instead. And
people on the other side of the Pennines were getting heavy snow, weren't they?
They were, yeah. Some of our moderators sending us pictures of just snowed in, and we're just quite sheltered here by it, aren't we?
Get rain. Lots of rain.
It was horrible. I was actually here that day, and it was sleeting, and it was so cold in reception because the door it was blasting straight through the door that the receptionist was sent home early because it was so bad.
Wow. Yeah, that EasyJet arriving in from Innsbruck.
Lots of happy skiers.
Yeah. And a couple of aircraft ready to depart. First out to Istanbul, the Pegasus A321neo, followed by the Aer Lingus ATR over to Dublin, and the British Airways shuttle service down to London Heathrow, operating the Neo today, and that'll be crossing over the active in a couple of minutes. We've got a overfly in here now. We've got all sorts of bugs in here today.
I know, we don't know where they've all come from.
Brody saying, I booked my wife a table for 7 p.m. tonight, for just two of us. I hope she likes snooker.
That's a good
nice one.
I love that. Let me get this overfly out.
Here's your table. Sounds like you got your own wildlife prevention going on down there.
If we see any more, we'll have to do a risk assessment. Go on, out of it.
So just kill it.
No, not killing it.
Make some bird noises and stuff.
Where's the... what's going on here?
So just let all the cold in. It doesn't matter.
I will. Come on. You know what? You can't do...
They must have been sort of like hibernating here or something.
Well, I think so, because it's...
You've one of them nest cams down there, don't you?
I'll give it a go in a minute.
24/7
I've learned that from Jen. I used to just get rid of bugs, but Jen won't let me anymore.
Right.
She saves everything. The cats go nuts as well when there's a fly in the house. Leathering it around, chasing it.
It was like once we stayed in a hotel in Turkey and he had a lot of mosquitoes. And they're on the roof, on the ceiling, sorry. So we had like the flip-flops out, slapping the ceiling. And at the end of the holiday, we had like footprints all over the ceiling. It's like, what's been going on in here?
Andy, can I make a suggestion? Why don't you go to the local shop and buy some, insect bug killer?
Yes, I think that's
the easiest
that's a smart way.
Just imagine him like smacking the
footprints all over them. Yes, that would have been a better idea in hindsight.
Oh, really? Ain't easy being wheezy. Says, this is funny. I was nicked for speeding on the ramp a few years ago by the great Mr. Hampson.
What?
He was very good about it, to be honest, and saved me losing my shop. Speeding on the ramp. Oh, God.
Well, they have a speed gun as well here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did he zap you with a speed gun? Wheezy.
Do you know why I pulled you over today, mate?
Do you know why I pulled you over today?
Don't know.
Oh, that's funny. Why is the BA service to Heathrow shuttle service? Is it not just a normal flight that you can purchase a ticket for Manchester? Yeah, it is. They just call it. It's the BA shuttle. It's the call sign is shuttle. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they operate. Is it 4 flights a day? More?
Yeah, could be.
It's quite a few, isn't it? Yeah.
Possibly a bit more. Yeah.
It's a shame because they used to fly to Gatwick, and they no longer fly to Gatwick. And if you go into the Caribbean with British Airways, that most of the stuff goes out of Gatwick.
Right.
So you have to get yourself there.
Oh.
Which is, it's either go down on the train, or suppose you could drive. But when you've just done a night flight back from somewhere across the pond, you don't really want to be. Well, I don't want to be driving.
No.
And then the other way is to get the shuttle and then have to get a bus from Heathrow to Gatwick, which is a bit of a yarp because it means you have to go down the day before.
Paul Fairclough in the chat saying this year's Emergency Services Day will be dedicated to the memory of Peter Hampson. We're looking forward to being back in the RVP, saying Paul.
Well, indeed.
That's great. Yeah, we'll look forward to that. Make sure we're available for that.
We've also got a number of radio stations broadcasting from here for the day as well.
Oh, have you?
Wow. So if you'd like to speak to them and just...
absolutely, yeah.
Then... give yourself some publicity, then I've already got an offer for you for that.
Yeah, that'd be really cool, actually.
Yeah.
When's that happening?
5th of May.
5th of May, let me put it in the
That's pretty soon.
calendar.
I just hope it dries out because I'm really concerned. I'm not kidding you, everybody. It is absolutely... We have standing water here.
Yeah. Just see some of it, yeah.
Yeah, and there's really... It's not the park's fault. There's just so much rain and water. We just had... It's just chaos. There's been no let up in heavy rain, it seems, for months. You have a couple of days and it just starts to dry out, and then we get hit again with a...
Although the last few years, May has actually been quite nice. But last summer was an absolute wash. I don't think we even had a barbecue last summer.
No.
Well, that's it. The last 2 summers have been the only 2 summers I've had with my own garden as an adult, and they've been like the 2 wettest summers that I can remember.
Yeah, it's just
cursed.
I've told this story a couple of times on stream, but when me and Andy were talking about going full time, we had the best summer ever, and one of the things we said was, this is going to be great, like, on days where we're working from home, it's going to be nice, we're going to enjoy the sun. Since we went full time on Airlines Live, we've not had a decent summer.
So it's your fault.
Year.
I think so. I do apologise for that.
I have to say, for that, we had that first lockdown, for COVID. Thank goodness it was nice weather because, I was able to go and walk across the fields and stuff like that, which was great. Because I think if it had been raining, I think it would have been really pretty awful.
Yeah, I think me and Jenna spoke about that because we do an evening walk and every day, and we started doing that in COVID actually. When you got that 20 minutes of being allowed out, we made the most of it and just we could only do a walk around the blocks. That's all you had time for, and it kind of become a bit of a ritual for us. And we don't do it every day now, but we try and do it a few times a week. And you always kind of think back to when we were doing this in COVID, and do you remember? And I think we've said a couple of times that thank God we had great weather because it kind of took the pressure off it, I think, because although you were all told to stay at home, me and Jen especially were really fortunate that we had patio doors, so we could just open the patio doors and just sit on the patio just outside the living room, and it did feel like you were in a bit of an extended break from work, which, like you say, probably, I think if it was going to be winter, it would have had a much worse effect on everybody, I'd say.
There goes the British Airways shuttle service to London Heathrow, one of many that will fly today. It's a lovely flight, though, down to the capital. You can actually just book tickets for that, though. It's not I guess, exclusively for connecting flights. You can do either, really.
Shirley Dev's saying, I hate to tell you this, but there wasn't a time limit. There wasn't a time on how long you could go out for. I'm sure you were only allowed out for half an hour or something.
I think it was an hour.
It was something like that, yeah. But
how they'd know that you were actually out there for an hour and 5, I don't know. But
I'm sure it was spoke about, go out for your daily exercise and that's it.
I think it was an hour. But I could be wrong, so don't quote me.
It also changed a lot, and it changed in Wales, Scotland, England had their own rules, and then it also got to the point where different counties had their own rules and stuff, so it got very confusing.
It got very messy, didn't it, at one point?
And here in Manchester, sure, isn't it? This side of the airport is in one county, and then another county on the other side of the airport. You got, is it Cheshire, and then you got Greater Manchester.
Greater Manchester was actually you weren't allowed to go out, and in Cheshire you were allowed to go out.
That was it, yeah.
And the second runway is in Cheshire, so that's how silly it was.
It was crazy. So look at King of the Skies then. Emirates A380 is due out in just over half an hour.
Ooh, something quite nice on the way in. Next to land just over Cheadle, British Airways, Sun Air, Dornier 328 from Copenhagen.
Oh, nice. Gosh,
not seen this
those
for
very often.
a long time.
Nope.
Is that next to land, is it?
It is. I don't think this will have much struggle either getting off or spinning around on the runway.
I'd love to see that, though. That'd be cool.
What I'd like to see is a 747-400.
Yep.
That's what I'd like to see land.
Oh, we had the aircraft divert in, didn't we, the other day?
Cargo Lux, indeed, we did.
That was great to see. It was a bit of a weird month last month, wasn't it?
There's a lot of things like that going on. We had the C-17s as well, didn't we? And
UAE Air Force.
Yeah.
They were awesome.
Yeah.
That was really cool to see.
So strange that, wasn't it, though? Just completely unusual. Because we just very rarely get military here. Even Liverpool Airport, they get the odd, A400 appearing, Hawks from Valley. Nothing really here, though.
I think the airport, because of their capacity constrained, they kind of discourage it. Because if you remember, the first C-17 that landed was actually parked on the south side because they didn't have anywhere to park it.
Yeah.
Because they had quite a few diversions that day because of the storm that was going through.
Yeah, that's right. It was just head on, wasn't it, over there? There's some nice pictures coming out from
there. There were some very nice pictures. So put them on the TAS Facebook and website.
Yeah, you don't see these very often. It's
looks like she will have to backtrack, though.
Yep.
Thought that would have been off a lot quicker than that.
What engines has this thing got? They look like little mini IAEs.
I was going to say, have they got reversers? I can't see any on that.
I'm not sure. Probably not, actually.
I've never actually thought about it with these planes, and we usually catch them departing if you see them. I'm not sure when they usually come in.
They're going to send that all the way down. No, it'd be vacating left, actually.
I think he'll do a left turn.
Yeah, he's going to vacate left, because there's an EasyJet just next to landing from Alicante.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously told to keep the speed up to get off there. So.
Yeah, that made me think he was going all the way down then, but yeah, he's turning left, so.
Yeah.
Nice catch, that. Like
odd plane. Used to do a route to Billund, I think it was. I think that was...
It was the oil companies, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ferrying people out for that.
Strange catch. Kind of reminds me of like a mini RJX.
Yeah.
Like a little twin jet version of an RJX.
It does. So we saw a video on one of the groups of Concorde's lighting flashing in the hangar the other day.
Oh, right.
Which was quite cool to see. It was, I think, they get the strobes on, was it, Andy, or something? I think
so, yeah.
Yeah, it was,
it's
it was really
Concorde
cool.
Heritage, actually, that's comes up here to do that. And they do all the Concordes in the UK. So they've all got their noses working and things like that now, which is great. And they've also, like, slowly but surely bringing them to life, which is pretty cool. And the other one, of course, you've got the TAS Volunteer Engineering Team, the VET. They look after the other aircraft here in the parks. They look after the Avro RJX. They look after the Nimrod as well, which is pretty cool. If ever you get the chance, we do have tours of Nimrod to go on board. It's absolutely fascinating. I think it's my favourite, to be honest with you, because it's got all the equipment of when it was a spy plane still in there.
Yeah.
And they've got a lot of the equipment working there as well now.
Yeah, I remember when the guys showed us around the Nimrod and they were just talking about the different functions of the aircraft and what it did. It was really impressive. I think they had quite a few guys in there who actually flew on the aircraft as well.
Yeah, even like the noise of like the avionics as you're walking around, you can hear all the old transformers, can't you, still working?
Yeah, it was quite loud, yeah.
Yeah, it's lovely.
We will have the aircraft open this for the festival. So if any of your members are coming along, they will probably have the opportunity to go on the RJX and do a walkthrough of it rather than just have a look. But also the Nimrod will be open as well.
Nice.
Amazing.
Yeah, I definitely recommend getting on board the Nimrod, especially because it was really impressive when we got to go and have a quick look round.
Weren't they fixing one of the radios when we were there? Remember they got the ILS working? I think that's what they were doing when we were in there. Always doing something interesting, them guys over at the volunteer engineering team.
Nice to see that little aircraft taxiing past.
Yeah, it looks really nice in the British Airways scheme, to be fair. Really nice. Sun Air, operating for British Airways.
And we don't have Debbie with us for much longer, guys, so if you have got any questions, please feel free to get them in.
Yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in today. This is our Midweek Madness show. Bit of a more laid-back, chilled show. We are waterproofed up today as well, so there's a little bit less equipment than usual, because it was leathering it down with rain, certainly when we were driving in this morning.
Yeah, it was a lot worse when we were driving in. It did seem to clear up when we arrived, which is fortunate.
It was horrible, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't nice. Mrs. Airliners Live's in the chat. Hello.
I'm not sure if Matt's confirmed for Friday yet. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, Matt, if you're available, let me know.
Yeah.
I might drop him a quick message.
And also shout out to any VIPs who joined in the quiz last night, hosted by Owen Flemmo, who did a 10 out of 10 job presenting that. I literally gave him a few pointers, like, because obviously we used to do the quizzes and things. Said things like, I'll make sure you comment on the leaderboard positions and make sure and also on Discord we have the ability to like interview people who are watching, like audience members, like pull them into the stage, so to speak, almost like a radio talk show, and we were doing that. And he was 10 out of 10. He was like getting people in, like, oh, where did it all go wrong for you? And oh, you smashed it, mate. Well done.
So who won the quiz last night?
There was two rounds. The first one was won by Lee Bracewell, VIP, and the second I think was won by Sonny. So well done all. It's funny though because Flemmo wrote the questions for the first round, which was an aviation theme, and I should have had a bingo going of. When's the first Red Arrows question? I'm
surprised it wasn't question number one.
When's the first Play Airlines? There was a Lanzarote question. There was a Liverpool Airport question. Yeah, Flemmo definitely wrote
those. You can tell straight a mile off.
But yeah, so Flemmo's looking to do more of them. We're making Tuesday nights like more of the social nights. So we're having gamers nights on Tuesdays, quizzes. So anybody who's a VIP of Airliners Live, make sure you're in the Discord. And if you're not a VIP, this is another benefit of that, is you can get involved with the social stuff.
Yeah, and the other day we also did a walk round of a little virtual tour of our workspace, our office at Barton Aerodrome as well, which is a VIP video on YouTube. If you want to see that, see how everything's done behind the scenes on the channel, go and have a look. And we'll be doing plenty more behind the scenes stuff as well. As we've said, that's one of our sort of keynotes for this year, is to produce more behind-the-scenes content for our VIPs, so make sure you get involved in those. And we post the shorter stuff to our Discord, and the longer videos will go on to the YouTube. But I mean, we could just experiment with putting everything up on YouTube and see how that goes as well, even if it's just a couple of minute videos here and there. At least it's all in one place. But Ian, just confirming that yes, the Dornier doesn't have reversers, so you were right in spotting that one.
Yeah, just thinking I've never seen them before, so whether it opted not to use them or just didn't have them.
Yeah, so it doesn't have them there.
Yeah, I often wonder as well, like, how many people even know that we have like a studio space, because they only ever see us usually here.
Yeah,
like we have a studio space, we have an office that we have based at Barton Aerodrome, which is the other airport in Manchester. We also pack all our merch from there. We have like a dedicated merch room as well.
Like a little mini warehouse.
A little mini warehouse, exactly, yeah.
Matt Smith's even got his own desk now. He's moved up in the world. Oh, sorry, Jimmy, there you are.
I keep meaning to come across, actually, and have a look at you guys.
Yeah, you should come and say hello,
yeah, we'll do.
Yeah,
it's
great.
Have some lunch there as well, because the cafes are nice there.
Yeah, the cafe bar area there is a bit dangerous, actually. You can end up spending the full day in there. We've had a couple of meetings in inverted commas that have gone on a bit longer there.
Yeah, and they have like a little plane spotting terrace down there below the tower.
Yeah,
and people at Barton are 10 out of 10. We love being there.
I think the tower there is the oldest purpose-built ATC tower in the country.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's a listed building.
Yeah, they reckon it's the oldest in Europe that's still operating today. So, but there's no official like way to find that out. But that's what they reckon. So
nice. And Lawrence just saying, do you know if there's what the plans are for joining Terminal 2 to the rest of the airport? Says Lawrence in the chat. I mean, I know there is a lot of future plans for the airport. Big changes coming as well, to change the vast majority of the layout, isn't there?
I think there's. I've seen a number of plans. I think that it's still to be decided.
Yeah.
The original plan was to mothball Terminal 1, which I think is it's a massive piece of real estate to just mothball when Terminal 2 comes online fully. They can't at the moment, of course, because the A380, there's only one contact stand for it, which is stand 12. But the idea is to keep T3 open, and T2 will take the bulk of it. But I think that's somewhere in the future, because, of course, there was a delay in constructing T2, and they're just on the second pier. They've got another 2 piers to build after this one. So watch this space. Yeah.
But I guess a project like that, again, is just going to have a huge impact on the airfield and the way it's running, because, like you say, if you're going to start demolishing part of the airfield, it's going to section off a huge portion of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although they could still use the stands for parking, for remote parking, but it's watch this space. I think the jury's out still for that one.
Yeah.
Just talking about work in progress, one of the other areas, of course, that you need to think about is the fire service. And they have to achieve a 2-minute response time to any part of the operational runway. And, of course, if you've got work in progress, you need to make sure that it's not impeding that response time. And the other thing as well is that they have they're called different things in different areas of the world. We call them rendezvous points here in the UK. They also can be called staging areas. And this is where the outside emergency services will go to if there is a full emergency and they're actually called out. And they will actually go to these areas. And, of course, you need to make sure that the work in progress isn't impeding one of those or blocking one of those. And so I remember there was a time at London City, I was actually due to fly there to do an audit of the airport, and they had closed one of their rendezvous points for work in progress, for repairs. And there was a road traffic accident outside the second one, and it effectively closed the airport. So...
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you do need to think about that and making sure that you need at least 2 that are operational. And if there was a full emergency, so for example, ATC, it's air traffic control that decide what the classification of the emergency is. So if they call a full emergency, it will involve the outside emergency services coming to the rendezvous point. So it depends on which runway the aircraft is landing on as to which rendezvous point they will use.
So does ATC have direct communication with the outside fire service, or how is that liaised?
It's an automated system, and then also it will be done via the airport. So ATC will call it. For example, and the duty manager will know. Then there's a call out that takes place, and most airports now have an automated call out system.
Yeah, because they're not going to be ringing 999 in the tower.
No.
It's just going to be.
They do have a direct line to the crash line to the fire service, and so they will literally press that. The crash alarm goes off, and then they will just shout out, and the fireman will be going. So if you think about it, 2 minutes isn't very long, and that's 2 minutes to actually be starting to fight the fire, if there is one.
Yeah, really short. And I guess that's, like we've discussed previously, why there's a station on both sides of the airport as well to achieve that. And what, how does that affect the airport as a whole? Because if you can't achieve that 2 minutes, what will that change in that point then? If you've got a problem, say with one of the stations maybe goes offline, then does the whole airport get downgraded at that point?
Well, basically, it's it's a 3 minute standard, so you have to achieve 3 minutes. Or what on earth is this 321 doing?
He's going to spin it around now.
Yes, he is. Yeah,
I thought they were going to exit.
I thought he was going to turn left earlier, but he seemed to have just decided not to. And then it's the recommendation is 2 minutes. So many countries will actually say the recommendation is the standard, and if you can't achieve that, you're closed.
Yeah, but for Manchester, if they deemed that they can achieve the 3 minutes but not the 2 minutes, will that have any effect on to how they manage the arriving traffic and things like that, or does it not change anything?
No, it won't change anything. But I think in the UK, where's he going?
He's going right there.
I think that they would mandate the 2 minutes here. So if they can't achieve that, then really you're basically closed.
And is that not inflicted, the word, not self-inflicted, but have they set that as their own achievable target? Because if it's national for 3 minutes, why would they?
It's what happens? You have the International Civil Aviation Organisation, and they have what's called SARP, Standards and Recommended Practices. So the example of the standard is you have to achieve it. So the standard is 3 minutes. The recommended practice is 2 minutes. However, they don't have any legislative powers, and then that goes to each government, who actually have the regulator or competent authority, as it's known in Europe, and they are able to legislate what they want. So, for example, if I'm in the United Arab Emirates, they've said all of the recommended practices are standards in that country. So it would be the country's regulator can actually mandate what they want.
Right. Okay. Laurie saying I'd kill to be at the task fair, but I'm going to be in Dallas crying. We'd love to see you over here, Laurie. It'd be nice to get you over at some point.
Absolutely. We plan on doing future ones as well. I'm sure that fair is going to be around for a lot longer as well. So
yeah, I don't see us.
Well, we've got one in July already.
Yeah, that's right. We're booked on. I've pretty much said to Alison, whenever there's one, just put us on unless we say otherwise. Yeah, for us, we kind of looked outside the box at the fairs a little bit, rather than just seeing it as an opportunity to sell some merchandise and stuff. We're just trying to use it as more of a meet and greet, the community style event, and it works really well for that.
Yes.
Well, I know it's certainly popular because the first time you were there, I think you were completely shocked, weren't you, and bowled over.
Yes.
And the queue, I mean, the stallholder next to you hated you because nobody could get to the stalls, which is why we put you at the back under Concorde now and give you the whole of the width of that area.
I know, I remember. It was a bit of an odd conversation with Alison, because she said, how are you getting on? I said, really well, it's really good. She said, have you noticed the guy next to you's gone? I said, no. And then I looked and his table had disappeared. He'd moved him over to the other side. It was really bad.
It was mad, that, wasn't it?
So there's the Transavia operating on behalf of KLM. It's always on this lunchtime flight.
Yeah, it's been nice to see that.
737-700.
We touched on that in the Pratt & Whitney video as well, just wondering if that's down to the issues with the E2s at the minute, or whether or not it's just strictly a capacity issue. We're not 100% sure, but it's definitely regular. We're seeing it on every show.
Every day, yeah. In fact, you're talking about the 220s and the problems with the engines there. I was in Riga last year a couple of times, and they've got loads of their Air Baltic fleet just literally parked up, no engines, and you're just thinking that's really, because the whole fleet really is the 220s.
Well, Egypt's
really
Air have just retired their, well, not retired, but they've moved away from the 220s, selling them. They've only had them 4 years, the oldest one, and they've decided to just move away and change the way the fleet is. And one of the main issues, obviously, with the Pratt & Whitney with the engines, the engine issues they've had with the powdered nickel. That's it can cause cracks in the engines and stuff because there's some little contaminants in there that they've found on inspection. So they're now having to inspect all the engines that were delivered in that period, which is having a massive knock-on effect because it's the whole 1000 series engine, so that includes the E2s, the 220s, and the Neos.
Yes.
Now, you're kind of fortunate with the Neos that a lot of them, I think there's only like 40% of the Neos in active service use of Pratt & Whitneys at the moment. A lot of the ones we see coming into Manchester are mostly on the Leaps, but obviously with the likes of Turkish and stuff like that, they use the Pratt & Whitneys. But yeah, there's a lot of Neos impacted by that as well. But with the A220, you've only got one engine choice. Yeah. And it's the Pratt & Whitneys, so they're kind of bound by that. And one of the things we were trying to work out was whether or not that's going to encourage Airbus to make sure on future aircraft that there's always two engine choices to go with.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, seeing another story, the FAA just mandating further checks on the 737 MAX with loose tail bolts in the rear of the aircraft.
Is this the 9 or the 8 or both?
I think it's across both. I need to double check, but they've found two instances. One where the bolt was completely just rattling around in the bottom of the tail, and another one where it wasn't tightened to the correct torque setting. So that's going to be another video we'll be looking into. That really, I think the next video for us on the Airliners Lounge is just looking into the future viability of the MAX. It just seems to be one issue after the other, and it all seems to relate to just quality assurance and quality checks and just things that shouldn't be getting through and wouldn't be getting through if Boeing were like they used to be. And it just seems like if you're in the Boeing headquarters at the moment, not another one would be the phrase I think will be used quite a lot right now. And we're definitely going to look into that because that's a story I saw come up just a couple of days ago, and I just can't believe it. I've not
seen that. You're right, it's just one after the other, isn't it?
It's completely one after the other, yeah.
It's weird though, because like Jasmine saying I'm flying with Ryanair in May, I hope I'm not on a MAX. The thing is though, like in Ryanair's fleet, there's not really been any issues with their MAX, has there?
No, and Ryanair have just recently announced that obviously there are some people that are cancelling MAX orders. They will take up all available MAX slots, they've said.
Yeah.
So they're still obviously confident on it.
It's weird.
But yeah, 5 days ago, the Federal Aviation Administration has said that an operator of a 737 MAX plane discovered loose bolts in the rudder control system of the plane. The FAA said it received a report about a missing nut washer and migrated bolt in the system from an operator in December of last year.
Is that a one-off or is it?
Well, they then inspected and found another one.
Oh, okay.
It said Boeing then inspected all 737 MAX 8 aircraft and the 737 MAX 9 planes in production and turned up another under-torqued nut at the same location. Boeing said in a statement to The Hill on Friday that operators have inspected more than 1,400 737 MAX airplanes since late December, and no other airplane was found with a condition that initiated the inspection. But the FAA, to paraphrase, the inspections recommended by Boeing in December have been completed by all US airlines in early January. An airworthiness directive from the FAA that will require a one-time inspection of the system in which the loose bolts were discovered for certain MAX airplanes is scheduled to be published on Monday. So although they've been completed in the US, they're going to now have to extend that out. Yet another load of inspections that's going to have to take place for Boeing, which is yet more cost and yet more delays on delivery.
I know it does put a lot of people off flying and stuff, hearing about all these stories, but you have to remember though that this scrutiny on, the federal level of all these checks and things are a testament to how safe flying is. Like, these small things are creating such a seismic issue for airlines because they just don't want that to happen and cause serious issues. All fleets are getting grounded because these small issues that could manifest big problems in certain ones, but because they're inspecting all these aircraft, they're really just doing the best to get rid of all these problems early. And in the grand scheme of things, you only have to go on like flight radar and zoom out and see how many planes are flying at the moment, and it is impeccably safe these days.
It is actually very safe. It's one of the safest forms of travel. So I think the problem is that if anything does go wrong or happen, it makes international news big style.
Yeah.
I mean,
that too,
I think the problem is at the minute, and just to clarify that news story from The Hill online, if anyone wants to go and give that a read, we're just reading from there. But I think the problem is public perception as well, because Boeing, it's kind of, they're at a point now where there's that much happening that anything that happens Boeing related is now going to get straight onto the news.
True, yeah.
And it's going to start eroding confidence in people in the aircraft, and it is going to, obviously with what happened with the Maxes, especially really affected public confidence, and they've been working so hard to get that back, and obviously we see the likes of Ryanair, and we see lots of Maxes operating in and out of Manchester as well, but it just seems like you said, one after the other that seems to be happening.
But as they say, it takes years to build a reputation and seconds to destroy it.
Yeah,
very
absolutely.
true. Yeah, very true.
But we'll have a look at that, because I think that's going to be the next Airliners Lounge video. I think just looking through the history of the Max and just seeing what's going on. And we don't do those videos, by the way, guys. For anyone who's watched them and wondered, you just plane spot at the airport. Like, why are you making these videos? We don't make them to kind of explain, we know what's happening and this is why and this is that. It actually really helps us as presenters as well, because to make those videos we have to do a lot of research and we have to read a lot of news stories and a lot of publications surrounding things, so it actually enables us to do better commentary as well on the show. So we really enjoy making the Airliners Lounge videos and doing the research on them, especially, and hopefully it helps you guys learn things. And we try and stay away from too much of our opinion and just kind of present you guys with what we found in the research and try and get a bit of a discussion going in the comments as well.
I think it's interesting because I when I'm doing stuff for training and things like that, I'm always doing research on incidents that have taken place, lessons learned, and of course one of the ones that I'm waiting for the reports to come out, obviously Haneda, the runway incursion, which was pretty horrendous, and it's amazing, isn't it? The worst crash ever was in Tenerife with the 274s, and we've still got runway incursions today.
That's going to be an interesting one, I think, when the report comes out on that, because we've not really, as far as I'm aware, I've not heard any of the dialogue, any of the communications. Obviously, with anything that happens in the States, there's usually a video up on it in the next sort of few seconds with the ATC communications and stuff, but I've not seen that.
I think ATC comms are up for that, because
I've not seen them.
In Japan, I think they can broadcast it similar to the States, so you've got the archive there as well.
I'm going to have to look for that.
It is. Aviation Herald is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've read some stuff on there, and I'll certainly put a few slides together, because I did a talk to TAS and to Air Yorkshire on runway safety, and I put a few slides in on that one, obviously for Air Yorkshire, because that was quite topical. But I'll certainly be doing a case study on that one.
And I mean, just a note that kind of comes to our mind, I mean, if it helps you out at all, we write a script for every single one of those videos. So if there's ever one of those that's like an easy topic that you want to, we'll just email you the script, and if you want to adapt that for the magazine and make a little article out of it, feel free, because we have to do so much research for it anyway.
Yes.
There's literally just a huge page of the script just full of the information.
I may take you up on that, because oftentimes I need articles for the magazine, just a few lines and things. So
if you have a look at Airliners Lounge is our second channel, and that's where we do all of those. If you ever see an interesting video, there's always a script that goes along with that, 'cause that's what we read from.
Okay, brilliant.
When we're recording it.
Sometimes we'll do a whole script and then just bin it off because it ends up not being that interesting. I remember spending the entire day looking through the long history of Flybe, because Flybe didn't just appear one day. It was like lots of mergers and exchanges of ownership and all that, and then obviously they had the whole saga where they went bust and then came back for a second attempt, and at the end of the whole research I went, you know what, this is really boring. It's just loads of like bureaucracy and loads of finance. There was nothing exciting about it.
No.
So, but yeah, a lot of it
fingers
is
crossed for Luxair. That's all.
Luxair, yeah.
Because I'm a big fan of the Dash 8s. I really like them a lot.
I don't like them. They've got a silly undercarriage. The undercarriage puts them into like a Boeing 767 category for width of taxiways. It's just crazy. Yeah.
What is it about it then?
If you look at their undercarriage, it's really much so wide compared to the size of the aircraft.
Right.
And if you actually look at the width of the taxiways is based on outer main gear wheel span, and theirs is just like puts them into a category like way beyond where they should be.
That's right, that's really interesting.
For planning, they're just a nightmare. But it's quite interesting because I was looking, I think it was where I found a load of them parked up at what was RAF Larbruck in Germany, which is Weitzer Airport. They've got a load of they had a load of Flybys parked up there. You can see them on...
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were flicking through the archive pictures the other day and we come across a Jetstream from Eastern in old Flyby colours.
Yeah.
And I've got a really nice picture of that just coming over the road there with nice prop 40s going on. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see that.
Kilroe used to have Jetstreams here.
Yeah, they're really nice aircraft. I love them.
In fact, I flew on one. It's probably only about 6 years ago, maybe even just a bit longer, 8 years ago. And I flew on one from Funchal to Porto Santo.
Oh, very nice.
And that was an interesting one. It's in fact, they had these 3 jet streams a day, and that was all that was scheduled. But we had so many diversions in when I was there because the weather at Funchal was just awful, and we ended up with diversions coming in from Tui and all sorts of things.
Oh, wow.
But these little jet streams, they got them in every single time.
Yeah, they bet. How are they configured inside? Is it a 2-1 or is it a 1-1?
I think it's 2-1 actually.
2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd love to do a little prop flight like that, just something on board an aircraft. I bet it's just something about them I just really like. I love the shape of the jet streams. They look great, and the big props. And that's something I like about the Dash as well, is it just seems... It doesn't matter what you throw at it, the dashes are always getting in. And if the dashes aren't getting in, you know you got serious problems, Because you just see them when they were coming in on a windy day at Manchester, just getting thrown around. And
same with the ATRs, isn't it, as well? Like, I suppose for them as well, the runway's massive, isn't it, as well? You got a lot of runway to play with, whereas I guess with like an A320 or something, if you kind of overshoot the threshold a bit too much. I
think the thing is with the ATRs is they've just got such a big tail on the back, they just catch the wind really easy.
Yeah.
Is what I've been told anyway by a couple of pilots. But
yeah.
The Dash 8 has a place in my heart. It was my favourite aircraft to fly in the sim, and they did a really good study level version of the aircraft, and they did a masterclass on how to fly it with a pilot who actually flew for Flyby. And you had to pay for this masterclass, and I did it, and you just kind of learn all the ins and outs of the aircraft. And hopefully it's coming to, well, they've said it is coming to the new simulator, so fingers crossed we get that pretty soon, because Majestic, if anyone is into flight sim and is still for some reason on P3D, make sure you go and pick up the Majestic Dash 8, because it's an incredible study level aircraft, and you can really sort of fly that aircraft by the book as well, which is really interesting.
Virgin just started moving all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's heading over to Atlanta.
There was a plane on, it's probably enough distance to cross there.
Plenty, it's only over Cheadle.
It was weird because it stopped, so I thought it was giving way. But
it might just be moving up to the whole point, mate.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But obviously that is code sharing with Delta, which is why we're based at Atlanta. So you can have a through ticket on that one, going to anywhere, picking up the Delta route in the UK, in the US. Sorry.
That's another video which is going to be probably released next week. Actually, is we're doing a video on skip lagging. I don't know if you've heard of that.
No.
Hidden city ticketing, is that what it's called?
Yeah, it's pretty much
where you basically buy a ticket from say for example Manchester to Frankfurt, and it's this much with Lufthansa. But if you buy a ticket Manchester to say Parma with Lufthansa via Frankfurt, it's cheaper than the direct. And what people have been doing is buying that flight and then just getting off at Frankfurt and not doing the next leg onto Parma. And although it's not illegal, obviously the airlines hate it because it's a big disruption for them. And you can't do it with baggage, obviously, because your baggage is set up for there. And people have been getting banned as well from airlines for doing that.
The other thing to note as well is if you have, say, a ticket with a transfer, you need to fly it in the correct order.
Yeah.
So, for example, I did a flight once from Manchester to Dubai to Muscat in Oman, and I didn't fly the leg from Muscat back to Dubai. A long story as to why I didn't do that. So it was quite an interesting one because I then had to go and pick it up afterwards and do that. So if you don't fly in the correct route or you get off, then if it was a return ticket, they wouldn't let you back on.
No, exactly. And that's one of the things we're going to be exploring in the video, because there's been people who've been banned from American Airlines for doing this, and the way the guy got banned was I don't know how, but the suspected he was doing it, and he looked at his driving license. It said he lived in the stop number 1 area, so they're like, oh, you're going to get off, and he pulled him aside and interviewed him, and it turned out, yeah, he was planning to get off there and not do the next
I think if they repeat it as well a few times as well, that kind of flags up on their system as well, so if they just keep doing it, it gets a bit obvious.
Well, I have to say, I have actually bought a return ticket because it was cheaper, and I only wanted to fly single. So
that's it, and it's weird. That's one of the things we want to explore in the video is why, if airlines aren't pricing it like that, there'd be no incentive for that to be possible. And I think there is some element on the airlines, really, that it would make sense, if you're flying 2 flights, surely that's going to be more expensive than flying the 1.
It's really weird because I bought a ticket once, and I wanted to fly from Dubai to Muscat, and I was with Emirates, and I actually bought the ticket through Sri Lankan because, of course, they're part of Emirates, and it was cheaper than flying it through Emirates. So tell me that one. I mean,
it's very strange.
It's quite a lot of that going on, isn't there?
Yeah.
Isn't it like if you buy tickets in different countries as well, it can come out different prices as well? Like,
I don't know.
I've heard that as well. So
there's so much.
There's a lot of that going on.
So much to explore. But that's one of the main focuses this year is the Airliners Lounge channel. So if you do have anything that you'd like us to make a video on, guys, feel free to drop a comment or let us know on the Discord server if you've got something you'd like us to look into. Because as I say, we enjoy the research side of it just as much as we do with the video side of it as well. And we do usually end up learning a lot as well from doing that.
Well, there's some lads there taking photos with their phones. I'm glad to see they're in landscape and not portrait.
There you go.
The world seems to be in portrait these days. It just annoys me.
Yeah, I'm afraid we're part of that as well.
But planes are landscape.
Well, of course they are. But I've seen people taking pictures of planes in portrait. You're thinking, why? It seems to be working very well, this left turn business off 2-3
it really
right,
doesn't it?
Yeah. And of course it's better for the airlines as well because they're not burning so much fuel and having to do backtrack and everything, so it's just a lot easier.
That's it, and holding down the end as well, because one of the things we saw on Sunday with it being so busy was they were holding down there for a fair while. And, and trying to then find space for them to get them all over.
They didn't have the second runway open either, and I assume that was because of the fog, wasn't it?
Yeah. They can't do dual runway operations in the fog. It has to be single runway ops, and that was, again, that's dating back to when we were, and I was involved in this, where we were putting the procedures together, and it was just felt that runway crossing in fog, and they have put flow control on anyway, so...
Pia saying, could you make a video tour of Manchester? Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Something we've had on the cards, for like a plane spotting one, you mean?
Yeah, plane spotting tour. Again, it's just down to weather, Pia, to be honest. We want to do it on a nice day, and we want to factor it in with some footage as well. So, at the moment, a lot of Manchester is a bit of a mud bath, and...
A bit.
And there's even, I don't know what's gone on here, I don't know if you've seen this, but over down Wood End Lane, there's been a certain fence erected as well, blocking one of the paths down through. And it doesn't look very legit. I'll show you a picture in a minute.
But it's not
really?
It's not like...
Let me show
Is it
Debbie.
on a public footpath?
I don't know. I'm going to mute and show Debbie because I don't want to broadcast her opinion, but it just reminded me.
I believe it is on a public footpath as well. Right, another EasyJet coming in. Let's see if she needs to backtrack or vacate. Let's see what happens. It seems like a bit of a shuffle as to what's going on. Will it be a backtrack job? Will it be vacating and use the left turn for a change? Nice smooth landing though. Love to see it. Do have a Scandinavian on the second runway just departing as well. That's what you can hear in the background. We'll be wrapping the show up soon, though, folks. So, like we said a few times throughout the show, do feel free to get questions in for Debbie. She's been in the aviation industry as a professional for many years, working here at Airfield Ops Manchester Airport for a long time. She's worked in air traffic control as well, and also now she's involved in airport planning consultancy as well. So, and she's the chair of the Aviation Society as well. So, a serious wealth of knowledge that can be tapped there if you've got any questions, especially when it comes to airfields. So, how the airfield is run, maybe the runways, maybe taxiing operations, maybe a bit more about the aircraft and how they live here at the airports. You're more than welcome. And obviously specific to Manchester as well, because as she's mentioned, she was involved a lot in the planning of the changes here at Manchester Airport over the many years that she was here. So, yeah, it's really interesting to hear some of the stories and information that comes from that. And also with the taxiway being closed as well is a big deal. There's a big, obviously, operation going on in front of us. You can hear it, you can see it. It just spans all the way down there. This whole taxiway segment is closed, and it's meaning that these planes are having to deviate from what would be the standard taxi procedure. So this plane here, for example, is A320neo, vacating to the left and using the taxiway in between the two runways in order to make her way down to Terminal 1. Don't forget we're live in the simulator tomorrow. John Fezzer will be live from about 6 p.m. tomorrow evening from, over on Simulate by Airliners Live, which is our simulation channel. And obviously get yourself subscribed to the Airliners Lounge if you haven't already. We recently hit 6,000 subscribers. And we'd love to make that 10. I think that would be a nice number to hit in the next maybe month or so. Let's try.
Okie dokie, we are back, and we've had a bit of a giggle.
We have indeed.
Lingus Neo, A320 from Dublin.
You'd think it was a Neo with that nice new livery on there.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks quite smart.
Although we did see the all green one, and it's nice to see that every now and again.
What, the retro, yeah.
Yeah, I do like it. I think it looks great on the 330 when we had that one operating in.
Oh, I didn't see it for a sort of photo.
Yeah, really nice on the 330.
It's definitely got more character, because this one kind of just a bit more modern, corporate. You know, a lot of liveries look like this these days with the white body and a swoosh down the tail. So it's nice to see the classic Aer Lingus colours still going about.
So you should do a thing on for everybody on your favourite livery.
Yeah.
So what's yours?
Mine has got to be either Air Tahiti Nui, I think, or gosh, it escapes me now. What was that aircraft we came down for that didn't end up going out in the end? Do you remember?
The Vietnam.
The Vietnam.
Yeah, that would be my one as well. Vietnam Airlines.
That was one that I really thought this is going to be amazing, and it didn't go out.
Yeah, that came around because wasn't it because they were doing like 5G interference testing, and Boeing sent one of their own aircraft, and it was in that scheme. Not sure why. It was still owned by Boeing.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, and we got up and went southside for it, and then it just never came.
Yeah, it was due out at like 8 a.m. or something, so we were there at 7 a.m, sun rising, and it got pushed back to 9, didn't it? And then 10, and then 1.
But one thing I've said, which has been a bit controversial, obviously being a Manchester channel, but if you take the Manchester City part off that blue Etihad, that's got to be one of the best liveries on it. If you imagine it without the football link, that blue scheme just by itself just looks incredible. And I think they've hit the jackpot with those.
Now you're talking to a United fan here.
Well, that's why I said you got to take the football out of it. But all of those Etihad different colours, I'd mentioned Laurie said the Etihad green liner, and it all follows the same scheme, just a different colour, and they all seem to look great. So I guess it's like the geometric pattern on it just seems to work really well.
What about yours, Debbie? Have you got a favourite livery?
I like South African Airways.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Let me have a look.
And, because I like the gold on there. But I think that I'm glad Air Canada have changed their livery, because that blue, well, it's a grey blue, and it didn't matter what the sky was like, whether it was grey, sunny, it never seemed to take a good photo. But the new livery, especially with the sunglass effect on the windscreen, it looks really great. I described it as eyeshadow, actually. But there you go.
Wow, the South African A350, I love the tail. I think the tail's really, really nice.
It's a gorgeous livery.
And they got the SPs as well. They are... So, I remember when we first started the channel, and I've not seen an SP before, and someone sent me a picture of one, and I genuinely thought it was someone having a bit of a joke, because you get them pictures where they just Photoshop the middle out of the plane. And I thought, what is this? And I looked into it, like, wow, these actually exist. It's,
the little baby 747.
That's got to be one of the strangest looking planes going there.
Well, there's not this month's, last month's article in Wing Words, there's a whole thing of SPs at Manchester.
Wow.
Nice.
And there's a load of photos of them, so have a look in there.
Yeah, I will do. Logan Air Tartan and the Egypt Air, Linda, the A321 Neo especially. Egypt Air looks incredible.
It was just the upgrade, wasn't it, from the 737, which was it was okay. It was a nice looking plane.
It was good enough, mate, because I made a special visit to Southside in the sun just to get the 737 taking off.
Right,
down at the rotation point.
I remember that picture,
And then we saw him upgrade to the A321 Neo, and I couldn't believe just the difference between the two. How you do really get like even if it's the same livery, there are certain airframes that it really just stands out on. It's like the BA for me on the A321 Neo. Looks much better, in my opinion, than it does on the standard 320. It's weird how an airframe can really kind of... I guess like the Ryanair and the Max as well. I think the Ryanair livery looks better on the Max than it does on the NGs.
I think their winglets look quite nice where they've had them coloured.
Yeah. Tasker, thank you very much for your donation to the channel, saying, does Jodrell Bank create any radio interference? Do you know? No.
It's more of it listens in, doesn't it?
It's a receiver, not a transmitter.
Yeah. You can see Jodrell Bank over there. They're behind the tree line. I'm still yet to go there. I'd love to go there as a day
I've never been there.
I'm the same. I've never been. I should go.
It's weird, isn't it? Because it's literally just there, and we see it all the time.
But that's always the way. When you live somewhere, you don't do it.
Yeah. It's like my nan, because she moved to Anglesey, and she was just saying, I'm not really getting up so much, and this, that, the other. I said, when did you last go to the beach? She said, I've not been to the beach in like a year and a half. I'm like, it's literally on your doorstep. Why are you not going? And me and Jen, when we go, that's the first place you go is to the beach. But then she said the same thing. It's like, I live here. Like, I've always got it open to me, so I just go when the weather's perfect, Hey, Paul, gifting a membership as well. Thank you, mate. Cheers for supporting the stream. Hope you're doing well, Paul.
There's that odd-looking Norwegian 737 heading back out on 23 left. It does seem like they're going to be using dual runway ops for the remainder of these works.
Yeah, I think they can't afford not to be honest with you, Andy, because the delays would be so bad. There's that Dornier on its way out.
Oh, nice.
So it's interesting. I wonder where that parked, because British Airways, of course, is a T3 operation. That's coming out of the T1, T2 area.
Strange, isn't it? Like you said, I think they use it for more... It's not really commercial flights, is it?
It's charter. It's not showing up.
Yeah, it's not on radar at all, that one.
No. So I wonder when the A380 is going to... I'll see if I can get an update on it.
You got a little special gadget there. I've
got the airport app.
Nice. I mean, it looks pretty promising. The plane seems to be all loaded up and everything's disconnected.
Yeah, it's not far away, that. The tug's there, lights on, doors closed. We're just waiting for that jetway to move away. And the APU's on as well. It's
showing delayed till 13:30, so another 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Seb says he's making the most of where he lives. He lives 5 minutes from a takeaway, and he always goes.
Would the Dornier have brought Man City back, saying Marquis Stoddart?
I just had that thought, but you probably can't get that many people on board. But where were they playing? That's the question.
I don't know.
Didn't that come in from...
What have you got a registration for that aircraft?
we'll get it for you.
Yeah, we'll zoom in after this.
If you are enjoying today's show, guys, please feel free to click that like button if you've enjoyed today's stream. We will get Debbie on again at some point in the future as well. I know you guys always enjoy these shows, and it's good for a Wednesday show as well, because especially while it's a bit quieter, it gives us a bit more to talk about as well. And Jake, thank you very much for putting a link in the chat to the latest NTSB Max Bolt issues. I'll definitely check that out because I want to get cracking on that script very soon. There's a reg for you if you want to check that. Oscar Yankee November Charlie Oscar. There's a Titan Airways coming from Copenhagen now. Yeah, that'll have them on, Seb. Yeah, that's more like.
Oh, nice.
Mr. Clive, hello to you. Welcome.
I heard this. Is it the A320 with Titan? Because if it is, I've heard that's got quite an extensive history. That used to do the one of the World Cups. It did like the World Tour, where I think it had the trophy on board. I think this particular plane. Not the Stornia, but the Titan Airways A320, if it is that plane.
Trophy is doing well for himself these days, isn't he?
I know, yeah. Dornier lined up, probably won't use a lot of runway this. They do sound quite nice, these little engines. Yeah, the A320, awesome.
Hey TBS, great to see you. Be interesting to see how quick this rotates. I don't think it'll take very long to get off the ground. Cheers, Greg. Glad you enjoyed the stream. We have another Virgin Atlantic A330 on the taxi out to New York.
Sweet.
No sign of the 380 just yet. Pinging up. Oops.
Well, it looks pretty clear underneath, so it can't be far off.
No.
It amazes me the number of people that are walking around in that muddy field.
I know, in white trainers as well.
I know. I always wear my walking boots at the moment because they're waterproof, and I don't mind if they get muddy.
I usually have my wellies in the back of the car, to be honest. I just lob them on when I'm walking across. But those mats that you got made a massive difference, haven't they, outside there?
Yeah.
It's really good.
It's a good job they're there now because there's about an inch of water out there.
That's it, yeah. Mm. But a big shout out as well for anyone who is into flight simulation. I'm sure you are all well up to date by now. But yesterday, Phoenix released a brand new video, a really in-depth video as well on their YouTube channel, updating about Block 2 of the Phoenix A320, which is a massively popular aircraft, payware aircraft in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. And they've introduced a ton of really cool features, specifically surrounding the engines as well. They've designed a full external engine model that even goes down to fuel flowing through the engines and how that affects performance. They demonstrated how having a crosswind at an airport could cause compressor stalls. And they've even modelled fan blade icing as well. So if you're taxiing out at near zero temperatures in rain or sleet, and you're not doing an engine run-up before you depart, that will model how the engine may struggle with that as well. So really in-depth stuff, absolutely incredible work by the team at Phoenix. I can't wait to get flying that. If you've not seen it, if John's in the chat, I'm sure we'll get a link in. If not, we'll share it in our Discord server, guys, because it's about 45 minutes long, and Amir goes into really great detail into the work that's been put into that aircraft. Now, I don't think it'll be too long before we're able to get our hands on it as well. So if you're into your flight simulation and you're living under a rock, make sure you go and check out the Phoenix Sim YouTube channel, because, me, Seb and Jake all watched that last night and just watched the whole thing, really enjoyed it. Some really, really good stuff going on with that.
Well, I have to say I'm not into flight sims on your computers, but I have been in flight simulators.
Yeah.
And the one thing I'm really good at is crashing.
Yeah.
And I remember we were doing, I was in this going back years, it was a DC-10 sim, and it was myself sat in the right-hand seat, and there was another guy sat in the left-hand seat, and we were just and they would be given the experience of what it's like to land on an auto land in low vis.
Yeah.
And the instructor just said, look, you just sit there and don't do anything. So we did sit there. And then, of course, we touched that. It's like, this is good, isn't it? Yeah. And then the next thing, he said, for God's sake, brake! And we said, but you told us not to do anything. So we crashed off the end of the runway.
I mean, that's as much on him as it is on you, I think.
So, well, I mean, this is that's why I'm not a pilot.
Have you had to go on the 360 sim here?
No, I haven't. No, thank you. No.
No, but the advancement in flight simulators now is just incredible. Some of the aircraft that are out now, you can literally have the aircraft manual, and if you get a failure, you can follow the manual to the letter, and it will react exactly as it should do. And they have real pilots testing these things, and the level of detail that goes into some of these aircraft now that you can fly are just insane. It really does sort of add to the experience of flying from home. And obviously you're never going to get that inertia feeling and the feeling of being moved around in the aircraft, but apart from that, it's as close as you're going to get. It's really, really good. Please can you zoom into the cockpit? The captain is my teacher, apparently.
What?
Your teacher in what? He's a pilot, isn't he?
He's your English teacher.
What's he doing, foreigner? So for those of you who don't understand, that means you actually are doing a second job. You have another job. It's a northern expression.
There you go. Diamond Girl lining up. And that's on the way to New York. And the EasyJet on the south side as well, out for Basel.
It's not been too quiet today, has it? I remember...
what's going on here?
Like 2 weeks ago on the Wednesday, it was pretty dead.
There we go. Next in is a aircraft from Brussels, next to landing, Ryanair 737-800. And then the standard A320 from British Airways, Shuttle 2 Victor, will be following that in.
So it's an interesting one. Some people say Basel and some people say Bâle. And so I went to a football match and they were playing, Manchester United were playing, I'll say Basel. And all the fans were chanting Basel, Basel. So I'm thinking, well, they know how they say their own city, so I will say Basel now.
There you go.
See, we've got another airfield ops person out there. I think it's really great. They're literally keeping an eye on them all the time.
Yeah, it's a busy period. And for something that's going to take this long as well, it's just a lot of moving parts, isn't it?
Yeah.
A lot of organisation. And I'll be honest, I expected to see a lot more workmen. I'm surprised how efficient it's become as well now.
Mm. It's like when you see them videos of like sinkholes in like Japan and stuff where they just fix it overnight with like an army of workers.
And is that something that's improved over time in terms of just the efficiency and needing less people? And I guess that's a part down to the advancement in the machinery and the practices and stuff. Yeah, so it's really...
But I have to say, when you're doing a resurface, and I've done a few of them, here obviously and other places, and there's something amazing. You'll have everybody just waiting, close the runway, and then wave them on, and it's just like all this flash of lights just going out onto the runway. It's an amazing thing to see, and the amount of work they get done in one night, and they can come off. Manchester Airport put out a very good video. I don't know if it's still on YouTube. And it was basically on the Runway Works they did back in 2011, and actually it gives you like it takes about 10 minutes, and it gives you like the night's work in 10 minutes on what they do and what they can do and what they can achieve, and it's really well worth watching, to be honest.
Great, yeah. If it's still up, we will we'll give that a share as well.
I'll try and find it.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
An EasyJet lined up on 23 left to depart. That's just touchdown there. You see it was a Ryanair from Paris. That's right, Brussels.
Basel. Ryanair's from Brussels. Sorry, there's
or Brussels Charleroi, as they call it.
Yeah, which is miles away.
Which is I think Niels he's going to be at the Aviation Society memorabilia fair next weekend, and he came from Netherlands And he said it was cheaper to fly with Ryanair from Brussels, so he did that. And Brussels isn't that far from Amsterdam. But little did he know, it wasn't in Brussels.
Caught him out as well.
They've got a very good facility at Brussels, a couple of them spotting facilities at Brussels. And they've been done so that you actually can get photos across the top of the fence. And I know the guy that was he works at the airport, and he was involved in the design of it. And they actually got a crane, and they put him in the cradle in a crane to sort of to work out where they needed to be to see over the fence to get photos. Great. And it's actually really good facilities there.
Yeah, there's a couple of people who do live streams there. I've seen them, and it's across 2 runways, isn't it? I think, do they have the terminal in the middle of the 2 runways? I think it works out. Yeah,
they've got cross runways. It's quite complicated actually as well. So it's quite a complex little setup they have.
Yeah, I'd love to visit.
Ryanair having a bit of a think. Are they going to make the right-hand
180, I think.
It is wild how little width they need to do a 180.
Yeah, full deflection on that tilt.
Well, the thing is with runway 1, it's incredibly wide. It's got a 45-metre wide runway, but you add the shoulders on, and it's like 90 metres.
Wow!
It's very, very wide, and they're pretty. I mean, they're obviously the strength of them is obviously it's not as strong as the runway, but they're pretty strong. So Ryanair, of course, retrofitting their 737-800s with the split scimitars.
I think I flew on one of them the other week, expecting it to be different. It wasn't.
What made you think that?
I don't know. It's like an exciting moment. It's like, I'm going to be on one of these new winglet planes, but no.
No, they're still the same inside.
Yes. Sadly, quite boring. I'm surprised how many Ryanair still have that old cabin design. They have sort of 2 types of cabins in their fleet, like the Maxes, for example, and a lot of the newer ones will have like a nice, I wouldn't say shiny new cabin design, but it's a lot more airy and it feels more modern. And whereas these have them old, bulky seats, and a lot of them have gone very uncomfortable lately as well. And yeah, a lot of them still have that old style, especially the Ryanair UK fleet. They are not very, not very loved, should we say.
I've not flown on the UK fleet, I have to say, but I wouldn't expect them to be much different.
There we go. Shouldn't be too much longer now on the 380 as the last remaining jet bridge is retracted.
It's usually the last signal that it's going to start pushing back soon.
Yeah, as soon as we start seeing that red flashing beacon,
yes,
we know we're good to go. Take care, Matt. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Thank you to everyone who's tuned in on today's show as well. Really appreciate your support.
Yeah, it's been decent viewer numbers today.
It has, 1,600 people tuning in on a midweek, which is great numbers for us.
Some of them from work.
Yeah.
Yes.
How many people in the chat, if you've got us on mute, you're not going to be able to do this, but maybe we can type in there. If you're watching us on the sneaky at work, maybe you've got a headphone in, just put a little yay in the chat. Let's see how many people are sneaking or watching at work at the moment.
There's a school who watch as well, aren't they? Is it Pembleton?
Yeah, there is.
College, or
they put us on the lunch break.
Yeah. So the teacher just puts it on for the class. It's quite crazy.
That's nice.
Yeah. I guess it's something to watch. Maybe they might learn something, maybe.
Yeah, it is cool to see that. EasyJet.
Well, I think it's great that young people do get involved in aviation, are interested in them. So it's nice to see that people are being encouraged.
Okay, there's a few yays in the chat. Look.
Really?
Sneaky viewers.
Don't worry, we won't say anything.
Also, if you've got kids, there's a lot to do. You can go to the cinema, you can just watch TV, but places like the RVP do allow that kind of spark. You can kind of get excited about the planes, and you do learn a lot as well, just being here and seeing the aircraft and the different shapes and sizes they come in, different liveries, different airlines.
And there's a lot of school trips that happen here as well. We see it quite regularly, don't we? And
we've had a few today, education tours.
And like you say, I don't think you can really get much closer to aviation as well, and something like that's just going to make you stand and watch, isn't it? Especially if you're a kid.
There's the A380 bushing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't think I quite had any school trips quite as cool as that when I was there. I wish I did.
No, I think the only school trip I did was Alton Towers.
Oh, yes, yeah.
I don't remember doing any others. Yeah.
I remember we went to the Coventry Motor Museum.
Oh, right.
And that was I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think maybe I did go on trips, I just can't remember, but I don't remember anything like coming to the RVP or anything like that, unfortunately.
Didn't have anything like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's a really good facility, and you know, it's we do commentary at weekends on bank holidays, so you know, if you don't know what's going on or you're not sure, then at least we can be describing what's happening.
That's very true.
Yeah, I think that's got a lot of positive feedback as well. We see it a lot on our stream, especially people saying, first they usually say, what's that in the background? And then when you tell them, it's really good. And we have people in the chat say they enjoy it when they come down and they learn a lot. And people coming here for the first time as well.
I don't think anywhere else in the world does that. Not let alone just the RVP in general. Like, you have some like spotting plazas and things, don't you? Like you were saying about Brussels. But to go above and beyond and to have a lot of facilities and make a day out of it is just wild.
It's quite interesting because we used to do commentary when we used to do the big massive festival that we used to have every year, which we have more events now, which is better because it was getting really hard work. And of course we couldn't do it now with the Premier Terminal because we haven't got the land. So we did commentary over the weekend there, and it was then after that's managed to come off pretty quickly there, the BA. It was only when we had that after that first lockdown and we thought, we got a really good deal on it. And then the airport realised that it was actually really having a positive effect on people staying, and so it became a permanent fixture.
That's really cool because originally it was just it wasn't like a set thing, was it? But now with the airport have got you involved properly, haven't they?
Well, yeah, because when we first started doing it after like the first lockdown, it was done on a voluntary basis, and there was just about four of us that was doing it. And then the airport realised it was actually a real asset for them. So it was then formalised. There's a formal contract now between TAS Trading Limited and the airport for the provision of, the commentary.
That's really good. Yeah, we do get a lot of people just saying that they've enjoyed it and stuff, and I guess that's the same with the feedback the airport got as well.
Just to let everybody know, the commentary box is looking a little bit worse for wear at the moment because there's so dirty outside and so much flood that literally we're covered in mud. So we are going to be having it recarpeted upstairs and then it being cleaned, but there's no point at the moment because it's filthy.
It is. It's definitely had its fair share. I mean, it's stood the test of time, hasn't it? We've been rocking in here with the wind. We've had mud and rain and all sorts. But it's...
I mean, even the windows outside. How on earth we've got mud splashed up at the windows, I do not know.
I think it's been blowing up, hasn't it?
But again, there's just very little point in doing anything. But I want to... Certainly, when it has dried up a little bit, if it ever dries up, I'll be looking for, volunteers. Hello, guys. To come and help clean.
I was just about to say, actually, me and Jen, for Christmas, got given one of them Karcher window vacs.
Oh, right, okay.
So I'll have to bring that down. We'll do these windows. Get them sorted out.
But the guy, Martin from BSB, which is where the box comes from, I've already spoken to him, and when it improves, he's going to come and they've already measured upstairs for the carpet because it's ripped up there as well now.
Has it now?
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, it's a
chairs need
great
sorting.
Spot.
Yeah.
And yeah, obviously, to get some 10 out of 10s in the chat as well, guys, because obviously we really appreciate being able to stream in here, and it's transformed our shows, and just being able to... Obviously, everyone sees it like, Andy's on the roof up there, getting a great view. But it's not just that. It's even down here. We've got power, the space. Obviously, we've now got Starlink on the roof, which we provide for you guys as well.
Yep, thank you.
And it just allows us to do more with the shows, because we wouldn't be able to have all this gear trying to make the shows like they are today if it wasn't for this tower. We'd be just doing the usual with the camera into the encoder, and that'd be it. But with all the extra multicam and everything like that, it's only possible because of streaming in here. So we'll get some 10 out of 10s in the chat for that. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
And Barbara P's in the chat. How are you doing? I hope you're doing very well. You're just in time, Barbara, for the A380.
Yeah, great stuff.
Woo!
Oh, nearly went then.
When I was here on Saturday, there were a couple of little kids, and thank goodness they were like those onesies, like waterproof. And literally, I watched one of them, and there was a puddle, well, there's loads of puddles out there. He just threw himself into it.
You just think, oh, that's when you realise, I'm glad he's not my child. Because we can just stand and have a laugh, but trying to get him home.
Yes. Yeah, the Emirates A380 doing... it's back to kind of normal now. And for a little while, it was getting pushed right back, wasn't it, out of the way, and we couldn't see any of this. But now we have a little view where we can see the pushback, the truck being disconnected, and then the plane starts its taxi from here.
Be happy.
I assume it's going to use 23 left for the departure today, which is the second runway, which is something we don't often see as of the last few months because, they're on winter runway hours at the moment. I think that changes at the end of March. And at the end of March, you'll see more of what we're seeing today, so dual runway operations. But I think until the start of March, roughly, we're going to have these works anyway, so, this is kind of going to become a bit more of the norm going forward, shall we say. But yeah, one of the caveats of this works is they need to utilise that second runway a little bit more just to relieve the pressure on this first runway, as planes are having to spend a little bit longer on the runway than they would usually, just because some taxiways are closed, some exits are closed. Don't forget to hit the like button as well if you're watching on YouTube. That helps us out massively, and get involved in the chat. We're just in the closing stages of our midweek show here. We're going to catch this departure and then start to wrap up from there. And then the next live show here at Manchester might be Friday with Matt's Friday show. I'm still waiting on a confirmation on that. But we'll be here on Sunday from 9 a.m. The broadcast will start with our multicam, multi-location Super Sunday show, which we're going to try and get Matt in a different location.
And of course, the weekend after, we have the festival, so please come along to that. Airliners, that you're in there on the Saturday, and then Sunday you'll be doing another broadcast. So I'll have to put up with you on the Sunday then, won't I, Andy? Because I'm going to be commentating that day.
So that's the day after the TAS Memorabilia Fair?
Well, the TAS Memorabilia Fair is actually on the whole weekend.
Yes,
on Saturday and Sunday, but you're just there on Saturday.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, but I'll be here on the Sunday commentating. So
we are not doing a show on that day because what happens is, right, and we've made this mistake a few times, few too many, is... because me and Martin are talking at like a loud volume level all day on the Saturday, most of the time our voices will be gone by the end of the day. And then the next day we have no voice left.
Right,
so we're exhausted. And so as a result, it's usually a terrible idea to stream.
No, okay, well, I won't be seeing you then.
But folks in the chat, look out for Debbie. Obviously, you'll be at the TAS Fair on the Saturday as well.
Yeah, I'll come over to so I'm actually here on both days. I'm commentating on the Sunday. On the Saturday, I'm in the hangar, so I'll probably be doing a few announcements in there. And I'll just be around and about. So I'll pop down and say hello to you guys and the people there as well.
What we might do as well, we did it last time, but I don't think we sort of got in your guys' way too much. But last time we did like a walk-around stream before the doors opened. So we kind of showed everyone what the fair's about and get one last bit of hype, basically, for everyone to see. And
and if you're on the fence about coming down, hopefully that convinces you to come down. And
I think this time I'll bring the camera this time and a mic and sort of walk around and maybe just get pull some people aside. I think with the extra
people here, I'll try and come with you on that one because usually we're so busy setting up. But I think if we can make the time to do that, it'd be really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll have to see how we get on. I don't think Jen's going to be with us this time, and Jen is like... she's like the boss, isn't she, at the RVP?
She's like integral usually to the...
So no Mrs. Airliners?
No, she's... she's doing quite a long stint of covering for someone at work over a 2-week period over the RVP weekend. So she's going to be working long hours anyway and a lot of work. And also, we're half expecting her mum to need to... well, she is having this done, but we're not sure when. She's got quite a heart operation that she needs to have, so that's due to be happening around that sort of time as well. So we're just kind of she's not confirmed as of yet whether she's coming or not.
Yeah, it's a lot. She'll be missed,
but we'll see what happens. She may still turn up and come, but
she's always been like the staple of that for us because she's like the organ. Me and Martin are not the organised ones, especially when it comes to like running a shop front, like...
We can get the stuff in the van and to the place. But Jen's like, right, we'll put this here, we'll put that there. We'll set this
all
up.
the sizes here and all
When
this.
I start stressing, she sorts it out, and we'll see how we get on.
So there's the A380 just taxiing out. So the point at which the A380 is going to cross the runway is quite an interesting one, because that is not a runway, or it's not a designated runway entrance or exit. However, during the work in progress, they have actually painted a centreline in for a right turn, but that is only for those Code C aircraft like the 737 on the runway ahead of us. So what we were watching when we were on Easterlys, you won't see it now, but on Easterlys, we were watching things like the A380 go to Kilo, then having to make a left turn and then turn right onto the runway. They weren't able to do it at that location. So that was not noticeable now, but certainly in Easterlys it was very, very obvious that it was only the Code C aircraft that were actually managing to enter the runway at that point. Oh, here's one of the sweepers back.
Oh, here we are.
Oh, two sweepers.
G-sweep.
They've probably just...
sorry. Barbara P. Sterling coming in. I just accidentally jumped on Debbie. I thought she finished what she was saying then. Sending in an incredible donation to the channel. That's called a mega bong, by the way. That's what happens when someone sends in a very big donation to the channel. Saying, Airliners Live, here for all of your effort to help a bit with your streaming costs. Watching until I head for church. Big props and hugs to you all from Barbara, with an incredible $100 donation to the channel. That is very kind of you, Barbara. Thank you so much for looking after the stream and for doing that. We really appreciate that. And I hope you're doing well as well. We enjoyed your videos on your channel as well with you. Barbara had a video on her channel where she showed how she sets up the church. She's involved in a local church, and she goes down and does that.
All right.
Which is really interesting.
I've not seen that. That's good.
So she set a camera up at the front and said where everything goes and how she sets it all up, which was really interesting.
That's cool.
Thank you very much. Sorry, Debbie, for...
No, it's okay. I was just thinking maybe she could help you out setting up your...
Yeah, Barbara, come and set up the Taxiway stall. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe we'll watch that video and get some tips. We've got sweepers coming in, so I guess they're just... Is that a regular thing just to keep on top of any potential mess that may have been missed?
Basically, they will be sweeping up any mess. I reckon they've just gone out to empty out, and then that's why they were coming back in, being escorted back in. But no, it is a requirement that the contractor will have to have the sweepers there all the time.
So they're not
airport sweepers.
They couldn't be potentially sucking up any excess water or anything on there, could they? Or?
Well, they will be sucking it up, but it's mainly for any FOD that's being generated, like from the excavations and things like that. I mean, the airport has its own sweepers that are driven by the maintenance unit, and that's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. But there will be obviously an additional requirement that the contractors have to provide these. And Ubu, which is the firm, gosh, they must make a fortune, because you see them all over on works on the runways and on motorways everywhere locally.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how all the contractors kind of come together, and like you say, I guess it's down to airport experience as well, and it is cool to see. And I guess on works like this as well, they'll be booked in fairly regularly.
Well, they'll have these on site all the time when the work's taking place.
It was interesting on Matt's cam on one of the Sundays previously. We did see all of the tractors lined up, ready to go over on the apron. They were, I guess, on standby. Are they something that are just brought in over the winter months and stored there, or are they stored there somewhere else?
The snow fleet?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a maintenance area right down by the airport hotel that someone gets stored in, but they can also sort of store them landside. But obviously they bring them into a forward position, especially if there's snow forecast, so that they can just literally deploy them straight away.
Yeah, so there was a fair few there, wasn't there, Andy, when
and they
saw
are expensive to buy.
Yeah, can imagine. It was cool, the formation that they traversed the runway on, though. Great thing about the runway visitor park as well is you can see both runways clearly as well, unobstructed, of course.
Yeah.
So when they're on 2-3s, it's awesome, because you can just watch both runways in action. simultaneously.
Especially with this extra elevation as well, we can actually see the rotations down there, which is absolutely awesome.
Yeah.
And look at all the people here as well, with looking for the A380 every time. It just
never gets old. And we say the same thing on the stream: is we see it twice a week, every week, and it's just never gets old watching it depart. Helen, thank you very much for becoming a premium economy member as well, for supporting the stream today. Thank you very much.
Helen's not in the hold anymore. She's now up in a premium economy. Yeah. Thanks, Helen. Welcome to VIP. Don't forget to link your Discords, everybody. Join the Discord server. It's another social media platform that we use for hanging out offline, and we have like voice chats on there and quizzes, and you can share pictures, share your dinner on there these days in the Rate My Scran section.
Believe it or not, we set that up as a bit of a joke, and it's become the busiest section on our Discord server. It's just full of people just making posts, sharing what food they're having. So much so that we've actually just launched Airliners Live cooking aprons.
You're kidding me?
Which I'm not joking. Do you want to see it?
You have to show her
do you do oven gloves as well?
If you'd like, get you some. Where did I put it? We'll get Debbie's live reaction. Here we go, folks.
Have you got the one picture that the promo picture? I guess.
Oh yeah, I'll show you. Where did I put that?
The promo.
That'd be in the. So this is our Discord server. So there's all different rooms here.
Right.
So we've got one for dad jokes, especially the latest dad joke. What's that? There's all sorts of rubbish going on here. Anyway, there's loads of dad jokes in there, and in the VIP section we have Rate My Scran, and this is where everyone puts a picture of their dinner, what they've made, how they've made it. And you can see it just goes on forever and ever and ever and ever, and it's really, really popular.
Well, I'll put mine in tonight in microwave. It's out of microwave on plate.
That's the way to do it. There's a fair few microwave dinners. We even had one. Oh, we'll get Debbie's opinion on this. Amy, staff nurse post. This was quite popular.
Go on.
What are your brew coordinates? I'm a D4 kind of guy. What would you say your brew coordinate is, Debbie?
I'm a C3.
You're a C3. There you go. Let us know in the chat, folks. What coordinate are you? There it is. Get it on the old... what am I doing? I'm not even on the stream. There it is. There you go. Let us know your coordinates, guys. Let us know what you are. But, so it's very popular, our Discord. And this cooking section has become so popular that, like I say, we've had to launch aprons and...
I think we made a YouTube post. If you got it.
It says, out as seen on Rate My Scran. They're going to be at the task fair. I'll put one to one side for you, Debbie.
There you go. For that microwave, you don't want to spill anything.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, it's very strange. I think what kind of sets Airliners Live apart is definitely the community aspect, and just how you start off as like a bunch of aviation fans, and then it kind of, you see where the community element really comes in. Dad jokes are fun on the streams. Yeah, Tony, there's a lot of dad jokes in there. Some of them are definitely not broadcastable.
I can imagine.
Oh, for anyone waiting on merchandise, I've just got a notification that the next order is on the way for me. So anyone waiting on your merchandise being delivered, they'll be shipped out on Monday for you guys. Good to know. And the Emirates A380 still holding.
Yes, I'm not sure what. It could be slot restrictions down route, I guess.
A few people saying D4, D5, C4.
A lot of people sort of in the middle then, aren't they?
C2, C3, E5 for me, says Win. Quite a few people getting involved.
That could be quite a good way of doing it. You know when people say to you, do you want milk in that? And you say, yes, just a drop of whatever.
Yeah.
And then it either comes back too milky or it's too dark or whatever.
That's it, just put that up in the kitchen.
Yeah, just do that. And then I'll have a C3, please.
There you go, that's a great idea. Easy peasy. Amy says, I've watched plane stuff for years, but to be totally honest, the Rate My Scran section's a big plus for me.
She's always on that, isn't she? Like,
yeah, Amy's like cooking. To be in Amy's house, some of the dinners she's cooking, 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Are we in emote only mode on Twitch? What's going on here? It seems popping off.
Oh yeah.
See, one of the emotes, one of the mods has set that up.
I heard that, I don't think this rumour is true, but I've heard rumoured that sometimes this Emirates A380 will deliberately be a bit later, to meet arrival slots into Dubai, because it could be quite busy there.
But I mean, there is a possibility that they're holding it, because that'd be, from a delay. But
yeah,
I'd be surprised. But
yeah.
I have to say, when you hit the airspace at Dubai and you think, I'm nearly there, nearly home now, and then you suddenly in the hold, and an hour later you still go around the hold.
Wow.
It's really annoying. And I was one time actually, I was on the A380 because obviously I used to live there, and we went round and round in the hold, and in the end diverted into Sharjah. And it was really annoying because I thought, I can be home in 30 minutes from there.
Yeah.
And I had to sit for 2.5 hours on the aircraft.
Oh,
I mean, at least I was okay because I was only going point to point. But, of course, a lot of people would then be missing the
any connecting
connections.
flights. Yeah, that's it.
I don't think they'd actually divert into Sharjah now. They would obviously divert to DWC, Dubai World Central, instead. And I did have the pleasure of doing that. Well, it wasn't really a pleasure, to be honest with you, because I didn't particularly want to, because I missed my connection. I was on the way to Doha, and they had drone activity.
Oh, wow.
And it closed both Dubai and Sharjah, so we diverted into to Dubai World Central, and it was quite interesting because there was obviously a bit of a conflict because we were the first one in, so we should have been the first one out, and all of a sudden we saw the aircraft next to us on stand pushing back, and everyone was like not very happy. And the next thing, it came back onto stand again, and we pushed. So obviously the captain had a few words, but so I finally, after working at Dubai World Central for those years, I finally did get my flight in and out, but not too brilliant because, of course, I then missed my connection, and then I had about an hour's sleep before I had to get in and start working when in Doha.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't want to be the guy caught flying a drone around Dubai. That's not where you want to get yourself in trouble, is it?
No.
But yeah, the Emirates waiting for a while, isn't it?
Although it's quite interesting, I put because obviously drones are a big issue. I've got a session on drone activity and all the latest technology that they can actually use to actually take drones down. It's actually quite interesting.
Because the one thing that I found interesting about the drone stuff at airports is I thought sort of geofencing and stuff was built natively into the apps of the drones anyway, so I was just really surprised how they were getting through that. I don't know whether they're altering the software on the controllers or something.
Well, I think some of the old stuff, they haven't got them, but also you can buy a drone from anywhere. And what's to say that if you buy them in a unscrupulous country, I'll leave you to think about where that could be, they do have the correct, sort of software in them. But it's very interesting, some of the ways they actually can, take out the drones and things now.
Yeah, because isn't there like... there's certain ways you can jam the signal as well, and you can also just go old school and just get the thing out.
They've even got nets as well that they can take them down.
Nets,
Like that, like big fishing nets.
Yeah,
absolutely.
You just running around with a pole.
Get back here.
But of course, I mean, drones now. I mean, Manchester Airport have been using drones to film the transformation project.
Oh, right.
And of course, that's done in conjunction with ATC.
Yeah.
And so on the airport app, sometimes they'll say permitted drone activity. So obviously, if people see it, they know it's actually okay to be there.
Yeah.
So it is increasingly becoming recognised. And I think, the professional drone pilots, because I've got a friend who's a professional photographer, and he uses drones and things to photograph all sorts of things. And, those people are actually, they're the ones that aren't going to be, sort of doing anything illegal. And it's really people either being ignorant or obviously doing it on purpose.
That's the biggest problem, because I've got a drone as well, and I had quite a big drone before. And now, as the technology's improved and stuff, they've actually managed to really shrink the size of them. And I've got another one, and I particularly bought it to take up to Scotland with me to do some photography up there. And my plan was to sell it as soon as we got back from Scotland, because we weren't going to go very often, and I didn't see a use for it afterwards. But I ended up keeping it because of how good it is and how well it takes pictures and stuff. But when you go different places, it's blindingly obvious. It comes up on the screen saying, do not fly above this altitude, don't do this, don't do that, and it's all there.
Yeah.
And then you think when people are ignoring that and, flying into restricted areas or going above restricted altitudes and stuff, that's when the small minority can really cause sort of big changes in the rules that affect people like me who just take it on holiday for some nice photos and stuff. But it's I think that's half of the problem, is the technology's getting better and it's also getting cheaper.
Yeah.
So it's just opening it up to a lot more people.
But you're always going to get stupid people around. It's like, lasers and shining lasers at, aircraft. I mean, that's just dumb, it really is. And I've got this fantastic piece of film footage, actually, of West Midlands Police, and it's a helicopter, and they've got these idiots that are obviously having shining the laser at the helicopter, and what they didn't realise is that there is some police on foot outside, and they directed them. They actually saw the guy throw his laser away, so they got him.
So they got him, yeah.
And that's unusual, but I think, well done, at least they got,
Because there was that issue, was it Gatwick? I think it was quite over a couple of days, was it?
But the drone activity.
The drone activity
was
causing a nightmare for him, wasn't it?
They never caught anybody,
I was going to say, I never saw a follow-up from that.
And I think the thing is with that as well is, and I don't know how true this is, but I've actually read some reports where some of the public reporting drone activity, they think it was the police helicopter and they were just wanting to see a drone, so they're seeing a drone and they're reporting that. So I think there was a lot of misreporting as well.
Yeah.
And these days now they've actually got, it's like a red, amber, green scenario of looking at if an airport receives a threat on drone activity, is basically there's procedures in place, and these have been developed internationally, procedures in place to have a red, amber, green. Is it red? Do we need to stop the operation? Is it green? We're carrying on. So it's actually, there's more procedures and processes out there to stop the Gatwick scenario happening.
Yeah. And is that something you can really talk about, like how that procedure is implemented, or is it not best
absolutely.
to talk about?
It's actually out there for the general public to actually read if they want. And like I say, I've got a session on drone activity, and I've got the procedures in there and the recommendations and things.
Right, so what would necessarily, I guess, a red would be is within the airfield boundary.
Well, and you actually have a confirmed sighting.
Yeah.
And you don't know, and it hasn't had previous permission, so that would be a red. A green is somebody just reported it, but there's nothing actually there's nothing tangible there, and it hasn't repeated, it's not come back.
Yeah.
So you carry on operating, but obviously the whole idea, you would be warning pilots as well, so they are aware of that. But it's quite interesting. There's a university in the US that have done. See, I don't know whether you know, but when they actually, part of the airworthiness of an aircraft is they have to shoot chickens at the aircraft to see what happens. Not frozen.
And not alive.
Yeah. But what they've done is that there was a university in the US that fired a drone at an aircraft.
Yeah.
And it was considerably more damaging than a bird, because a bird, of course, is soft, it's frangible. But as the drone penetrated the wing of the aircraft, it caused a lot more damage.
Right.
It's the same size as the bird,
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's not rocket science. It's a hard thing, whereas a bird is soft.
That's it. There's a little mini bird just on the barbed wire in the middle of the 380 right now as well, just sat watching. Tiny little thing. Would have been a good view sat up there. Looks like the A380's finally moving now as well.
A little bit of a hold, that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Before the departure.
Well, if you have enjoyed today's show, please feel free to smash that like button, guys. We'd really appreciate that. And make sure you tune in to our future shows in the next few days. And Matt will be live potentially on Friday. We'll try and confirm as soon as we can.
There she goes. There'll be a mass exodus after this one.
As per usual, a lot of runway being used for the Super Jumbo heading back to Dubai. Emirates Flight 18.
And of course, most of the people on board that aircraft will not be entering Dubai; they'll be transferring somewhere else.
That's crazy. They still call it the gateway to the world. I remember that was the saying.
Most like, well, it is the busiest international airport in the world.
Wow.
And Heathrow had the top spot for ages, and they lost it a few years ago. Not the busiest airport in the world, busiest international. Yeah. The busiest, and this is passenger-wise, of course, the busiest passenger airport in the world is Atlanta.
And we need to press that megabong button again. Because Rocket Wolf has just blown up the Twitch chat with a 25,000 bit donation coming in on Twitch, which is an absolutely incredible donation, mate. Thank you so much. I know you're a big supporter of the channel, and that is huge. Thank you so much. Let's get some hype in the Twitch chat. Let's get some love for Rocket Wolf, throwing in a huge amount of support to the Airliners live stream right at the end of today's show. Thank you so much, mate. That's an incredible amount of support. And Tommy Mahoney, using your Twitch Prime subscription on the channel, a free subscription to the channel. Thank you so much. And the A380 departing there to wrap up today's show. That was an incredible amount of support. And we will see you again, I guess, folks, on the Sunday show live here from Airliners Live. And don't forget, we will be doing this Sunday, and then for the TAS weekend, there won't be another show on that Sunday from the airport. We'll be doing a sim show at the Manchester Flight Sim Centre down at Airliners Live HQ, just for a bit more of a relaxed show.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. And Rocky Wolf, again, thanks for the incredible donation. Mods on Twitch, feel free to start handing a few ban hammers out. I see it's a bit chaotic on there. But for everyone on the YouTube channel as well, thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for supporting the stream. Hope you've enjoyed having Debbie on again today. Debbie, thanks for coming on.
Pleasure, thank you very much.
We'll have to book you in again sometime in the summer, I think, and we'll get you on when it's
no worries.
We can have that on cool rather than heat. It'll be nice. And well done to Brownie up on the roof as well, bringing all of the views for you guys today. And we'll keep you up to date, folks, for Matt on Friday. We're not sure yet if he's going to be on. I've dropped him a message. I think he's busy at work, so we'll let you know as soon as we can. And John will be live in the sim tomorrow on Thursday. But from us here at Airliners Live, thanks for tuning in live from Manchester today. It's been a mega show. For myself, Martin, Debbie from the Aviation Society, and Mr. Brownie on the roof. We'll see you on the next one. So, see ya.